Defining Duke is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. So start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Duke. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/Duke. Indeed.com/Duke. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Defining Duke is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 100 offices nationwide and more than 800 lawyers. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Duke or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. That's FOR thepeople.com/Duke or #law #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 124 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the gaming ninja himself, Lord Cognito. I like the shirt. How are you, sir?
We feeling good. We feeling good.
Oh, I thought that was a ninja shirt. That is a Tekken shirt. Okay, yeah. I apologize. I misnicknamed you today.
No, you good. You guys we're still kind of ninja vibes. Still martial arts. We in the scope of it. We in the realm of it. Mm-hmm. Nah, man, I'm hype. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about it, but a certain reveal happened. You know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling myself right now. I'm feeling myself. And it's just been fun. There's a lot of good stuff going on with the FGC and the fighting game community that we will get into.
Yes, sir.
It's like a renaissance for me. This is, you know what I'm saying? So I had to take it back to the OG Tekken shirt, PlayStation 1. This was the original logo for it. And System 11 board. And that's when I fell in love with this thing, man. And I can't believe it's been so long. I'm still stuck with this franchise. So good to see what's going on.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, man?
Hao Rang. How do you say his name? Hao Rang?
It's funny you say that. Namco don't even know. I've seen Namco do it. Harang, Wadang. And then, like, what's my homegirl? Oh, man, they got this awesome from the, not from UFC, but the old MMA Pride days. And she's the announcer. She used to do these really illustrious. She's just like, what? And I'm like, no, the way she did it, bro, I'm like, yo, she's growing on me. Welcome to No Challenger. Yeah, bro, I'm going crazy for all her character reveals. So, yeah, it's multiple pronunciations, by the way.
Okay, I appreciate that because it reminds me, if you want a more like modern reference, like Persona 5, they don't know how to pronounce Takamaki for on. It's either Takamaki. Like, they have it in different ways. So people are like, which way is it, Atlas? So I feel you on that.
Yes.
Anyway, man? I'm doing well. I call this the event extravaganza week for me. Like, so normally from May 13th to the 15th, I booked like crazy because it's my brother's birthday, Mother's Day, my fiance's birthday. So it's just like every day's important. Every day you got to be there. You got to have you just have no spare time for anything, which is fine. These are all important things. But then this week, or this year, I should say, the added on event was closing a house, which is amazing, but it's like that one extra thing on May 12th. So it was just bang, bang, bang. And I got to say, man, on May 16th, once it was all done, I had my first exhale. I felt myself legitimately come down a level. It was because I have a lot of fun during those days, but it is intense. And as someone who's more of like an inside dude, just being booked that many days, it's not my vibe, even if it's fun stuff. So it's just it's good to be on the other end of it all, but to be a homeowner too is really cool. I'm excited for that. I'm looking around at furniture now, just feeling out how I'm going to deck out the new studio space. It's an exciting time for sure. But definitely, I feel like my heel turn arc has concluded for this week, right? You know, Matty's been popping off a little bit, but I feel like we're simmering down a little bit.
Okay.
I'm in my hero arc now.
Is the redemption now?
Yeah. You're all going to start loving me again. Start cheering for me, clapping for me again. It's all going to be different now.
People were liking your villain turn, though. I saw a lot of positive response from your villain turn, based on past Dukes. I've been looking at the comments, and they're like, yo, Matty putting it down right now. So, that's the vibe. That's the energy.
I thought I was being toxic at times, but it's good to know. I was like, whatever. We'll let it rock.
Hey, you got to tell it what it is sometimes,
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, patreon.com/laststandmedia. Probably the best place you can spend $5 now. We just launched a Nintendo show called Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast hosted by executive producer Dustin Furman.
Yeah.
Gene Park is a host on the show. Daniel Moriarty's on the show, and Mama Micah is on the show. I haven't listened to much of it. What I did hear, it was good, great energy. Our first official 4-man podcast in the gaming sphere. Usually we're the duo, the trio, that kind of stuff. So a different dynamic too. Just to remind you all that you're getting early access to all of our stuff. You're able to write into all of our stuff, and you're getting pretty much a podcast every single day except one right now. If you're subscribed over there, Defining Duke, of course, a part of that, you get early access to our show. You get DDU every other week, where we're going to alternate on Sundays now.
Yes.
So we're really riding a high now. Defining Duke is doing the best it's ever done thus far in its young lifespan. When you really think about where we started and where we are now, we got a new Nintendo show. Yeah. Ken Levine on Sacred Symbols Plus. Ooh. I mean, I usually don't try to sell y'all too hard on the Patreon, but if you are not convinced at this point that it's at least worth a try, I don't know what will, because we're delivering, I think, in all areas. So we appreciate those of you who support us so much, where we can launch these shows. It's just awesome to see how well the network is doing as a whole. And again, it's thanks to all of you as we tackle this new type of media. When you think about what it used to be and what it is now, I think we're on the cutting edge of that with Last Stand. And it's really exciting to see how we've developed, really, with Defining Duke kind of being the first breakout change from just Sacred Symbols to where we are now with Constellation, Punching Up, and so on and so forth. So it's awesome, man. Have you had a chance to listen to Punching Up at all?
I did not yet. I saw a couple of clips though, and I liked what I saw. They have a ton to talk about right now, based on what based on what games we're all playing. Yeah. And it's really cool. I like that mix. Dagan is such, every LSM event, he's always kind of rep Nintendo and had some good Nintendo throwbacks. Excited to see what Mike is doing outside. That'd be cool. And of course, Dustin in the co-host seat, right? So you got that going on. I'm really excited to see what they do. I mean, it's really fun to kind of see as far as the Switch and their trajectory. And I've been a big fan, of the time. As a Sega kid, when they were always the enemy, the Switch really made me fall in love with them and say, all right, this is kind of what I missed. This is your highest level moment. So salute to them, man. Punching Up, go check that out. We got Punching Up. We got to do a lot of violence with the names.
Yeah, true.
Punching, we duking.
I didn't realize that until now. But we do got a little violence. We're a violent media group.
No doubt.
Anyway, that's over there on patreon.com/laststandmedia. Consider signing up, early access to our show. You get Defining Duke Ultimate, where our last episode, which is about to go out for free, Minecraft Legends interview with Craig Lay, principal design director. Really great episode. Lots of gems in there. So please do check that out, whether you are signed up on the Patreon or you catch it on free feeds. You will not regret that listen. And now let's turn our attention to some of the freebies, or a freebie, I should say. We didn't get many mobile reviews this week. So now, guess what? This is what happens. Guess what you got to go through now? Got to pester you. Got to remind you why we're doing this. So the Dukes are seeing record numbers. Now, this is not a flex, but if we needed to put it into Last Stand perspective, Sacred Symbols is the number one show on the network. The Dukes have eclipsed them twice in a row. So just know, again, your investment in us is paying off. It's not a competition, but it definitely looks pretty damn good, right?
Well, that's good. Hey.
Yeah. So, I'm just throwing it out there. When you put in these free review submissions on Apple Podcasts, it raises us up. I was looking at some of the ratings. We were in the 20th spot in the UK for video games. That's fucking awesome. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm doing my Obama moment. When Obama got that meme where he's putting the medal on himself, right? That's what we're doing right now.
Medal on ourselves.
Yeah, we're putting the medal on ourselves, and it ain't silver. It's gold right now. So just want to shout out everyone who does write in those reviews, because it does help. But this week, only one. I guess maybe I'm getting a little greedy. Y'all always deliver, but just a reminder, if you take 5 minutes and you do this in all seriousness, it does help the Dukes out. We appreciate it. We're seeing the impact from your investment in our show in real time. Go look at the numbers, look at the ratings on chartable.com yourself. You can see with your own eyes how you are impacting Defining Duke. So please do consider writing those reviews, just like the one and only Brit in America did. Mr. Matty, Master of Flannel, and COG Captain Acquisition are continually hitting it out of the park. This show offers the most in-depth perspectives and often some of the funniest, fantastic host chemistry, excellent guests, and bang-on topics. Defining Dukes isn't just an excellent Xbox podcast. It should be considered an essential gaming podcast. Keep it going, gents. I am rooting for the show's continued ascendancy. Best, Captain Hero. Thank you, Captain Hero, for taking the time this week to write in your review.
Much love. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Love that one.
Got a bunch of Patreon write-ins to go through before we start some of our news. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the PlayStation Showcase this week, Xbox having their acquisition of Activision Blizzard King being approved by the EU, the Somerville developer have some thoughts about Game Pass impacting sales, some expectations from Jez Corden on how Xbox is going to frame what will be revealed. And it looks like at the showcase, we may be stripping away the 12-month window, which is pretty good news. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about this week. It's going to be a fun episode on top of personal favorites like COG's Main and Tekken 8 returning. So let's start off with Patrick Hader, who I just like this write-in and the perspective they offered on what Xbox can offer, because a lot of people have been asking, well, why am I here right now? What are they offering me? And I thought, again, this is a good angle to look at it from. So Patrick writes, hey, Dukes, I just wanted to chime in on a question from last week about what keeps us in the Xbox ecosystem. Well, I have all platforms that I can enjoy, all exclusives on. Xbox remains my main platform. The reason comes down to the platform featuring backwards compatibility, quick resume, and Dolby Atmos. I move my console between my living room and bedroom regularly, and being able to keep multiple games suspended with quick resume, even after pulling the power cord, is a major quality of life feature to me. Also, I have a home theater Dolby Atmos setup complete with speakers that I installed in the ceilings, and playing games with good Atmos support is a huge boost to immersion. Sony, for all their marketing around the stimulated headphones 3D audio, does not support proper home theater spatial audio on the PS5, so multi-platform games are a lesser experience for me on the PS5. I know Atmos specifically isn't a common use feature, but I appreciate the Xbox includes really great features that only a handful of users might be able to use. Thank you for writing in, Patrick. A great angle there.
Salute. Yeah, I'm big on that. Actually, a huge Atmos supporter. I remember one of the first headsets IOP kind of dealt with was the Rigs by Plantronics, and they were like the first time I experienced Dolby Atmos in gaming, and I was really blown away. The difference was so substantial. I was like, I can't go back to not hearing this anymore. Yeah.
I don't think I've tried it.
Bro, you have to. Yeah, you configure it through the Dolby Atmos app. And if you have Dolby Atmos supported headphones, once you configure the app and then utilize it, the games that support it, it's truly phenomenal. That's why I'm really pulling for Hellblade, because I think they can utilize it better than anyone. And I'm glad Patrick said this, because I forgot to mention this, as a techie, Xbox is a fun ecosystem to be part of. They're always on the cutting edge with feature sets and things of that nature, and integrating your living room and making the game shine the most. So yeah, good call out, Patrick. I agree with that big time.
And then you got people like me who just know nothing about tech, technologically illiterate, and they're just like, what's an Atmos, bro?
You're funny.
Nick DeHev writes in, and he keeps it clean this time. For those who don't know, Nick is the gentleman who is a mailman and often writes in about delivering his packages to the Dukes in sexual manner. So Nick thanks for keeping it clean this time.
Yeah,
we appreciate it. He said, what is up, Dukes? I'll get straight to it, mostly for COG, since Matty has yet to play the greatness that is Midnight Suns. They just released the Storm DLC, and ain't she a baddie, COG? My question is, what other heroes would you like to see added for future DLC? I'm only asking because I've seen a rumor of a Season 2 round of heroes. Thanks, and have a great day, my guys. Also, congrats to Matty on being a homeowner. Thank you, Nick the mailman. We appreciate you. COG, my friend, Storm is here. I'm sure you've messed around with Storm, but also rumors of some more options are plentiful in the Marvel universe. So I'm curious as to your thoughts, sir.
So apparently there was a Midnight Suns live stream by the team. And they utilized framing that I've never seen before. And it was like, as far as we knew, Storm is the final character for the season pass. So I'm like, okay, swan song, and that's it. However, this is the first time they said season 1 has completed. So I'm like, and then it gets me to wonder, maybe is there a slight research? I mean, Cog has been out here for access, man. I mean, not that y'all owe me a bag or anything, but
I mean, they do.
Hey,
I'll say it for you.
I've been damn near community manager for this damn game. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? So, look, if there is a resurgence and, you want to get some money back based on the initial disappointment, hey, I think the community has shown that these characters, how well they've been implemented, how great they are, they would take a season 2. To Nick's question, I think it's time for Daredevil. I think Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
Fellow Matt.
Yeah.
he needs to come because Midnight Suns, I like the choices. A lot of them are not just the popular guys. It's the street level, the Morbiuses. I could see like a Moon Knight. You want to get those people who kind of are in that dark street level, kind of entity as far as the MCU. Not necessarily. I don't really need to see Thor here. You know what I'm saying? You want that, and I think Daredevil actually, because in the game,
is Luke Cage in the game?
No, he's not. He would fit.
He'd be a good fit.
Iron Fist, all of those. Like those characters would really fit well.
Whether they get the Defenders, I think is what they're called.
Have a little Defenders action. It's crazy. Because Storm is dope because when she comes in, she immediately reunites with Wolverine and Magic, and you see a little mini X-Men energy. And it's so well done. But I'll get into it as far as what I'm playing. But yeah, I think keep your eyes open. I think they may be hinting to something. And also, plug. You may want to tune in ILP this Sunday. I'm telling y'all might want to tune in to some, fingers crossed, you might want to tune in. But Nick, you are on to something. I think they are purposely hinting they are seeing some type of success and there's going to be a season 2. Oh, last Easter egg. In the character selection screen, now that Storm is there, I forgot what, I don't know if it's a total, I forgot the total number, but it's 3 across and let's just say it's about 8 or 9 down. There is a single empty box still left. So it almost feels like there's still one more reveal. They're playing coy. I think something's cooking.
Okay. Good catch. Good catch. I didn't know that, but that's awesome. And then when I dive in, I'll have everything ready for me.
Exactly.
That was all part of the plan, baby.
Part of the plan. You waited. Your patience paid off.
Yeah. I did buy the game at launch, so I did my part. I just haven't played.
Oh, you haven't? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I bought it. I got it on Steam now. I bought it twice. I bought it twice.
Got put it out.
So I did my part. I haven't put in the hours yet.
You've been reviewing like crazy, brother. So I already know.
Yeah, I have been.
You've been in on fire with that.
And it might pick up again. We'll see. It'll be fun though.
I know this month.
Yeah, June's gonna be a good time.
June is crazy.
It's gonna be fascinating to watch me try to survive what may be 3 reviews of huge games. Not only the Xbox showcase, but then moving on top of all this.
Oh yeah, you're moving. Then you got to set up. Yeah. Man, you got a lot going on.
But it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm embracing it. I'm embracing that chaos. That's a blessing, right? That's not something that comes around often. A lot of good things happen at once, so I'm not going to complain too much. But
I agree. Good mindset.
Lee is Cool Jenkins putting the medal on me again here. Hey, Dukes, no question this week. Just wanted to shout out to Matty for finally getting me to give Dishonored a proper try. This game is so amazing. The different ways you can go through the missions is so immersive. It has restored my faith in Arcane. Fingers crossed Xbox will allow them to get back to what they do best. Thanks as always, man. My pleasure, Lee. And hey, a lot of people were writing in, not only on Patreon, but in the comments. They really liked our conversation about Dishonored. And a lot of people gave it a try. And I was happy to see that because I felt like with Deathloop, I truly was screaming at a brick wall. I really felt like no one wanted to hear what I had to say about Dishonored. So I'm, if Redfall was good for anything, I'm glad it opened some eyes to people saying, let me see what this is about. Because there was a height at some point in the creative levels at Arcane. And now you can see it with your own eyes. And right now with Tears of the Kingdom, it's hard to squeeze it in, but I am eyeing Dishonored too. But it's great to see people trying it and enjoying it at that because there is some nostalgia for this game. This was a day one pickup for me on the 360. I replayed it so many times. I talked about my Ghost Mode playthrough. Like I love this game. and how smart and intelligent, the same fucking meaning, but how smart the design of the game is. And I just appreciate it endlessly. So to see people really gravitating towards it is awesome. Even my lovely co-host here was enjoying it.
Bro, I bent the knee. You know, it gave proper perspective. And I think that I saw so many comments say, Cog, I'm so happy you tried it. So many people hit me up like, Cog, I'm so glad you played it. Because it was like the arcane hardcore was so like broken by what happened with the Redfall situation. And it's like, you got to see what this greatness is about. And I seen it. I completely see it. And it gave me faith that once this thing clears up, if Dishonored 3 is on the roadmap, that'd be a nice mea culpa, you know. I'm just saying. You know.
Yeah, give Harvey. Harvey has earned what I would call the Josh Sawyer treatment.
Yes.
You didn't come in, you didn't help him out, Phil. So now you got to let him make what he wants to make as a little passion project if you want to keep him around. Harvey, if you're listening, man, weaponize your employment immediately. And if you use that, man, you'll make the immersive sim of your dreams. And it'll be a beauty for me.
I think Xbox would like that as well.
Sticking with Arcane here, VRG writes in with a simple question. Hey, Dukes, are you going to record a Redfall spoiler cast? Now, the plan was to do it with this.
Yeah, what's the plan?
What's the plan? But here's the problem. I'm having a tough time finding people who have finished the game, you know?
I mean, if I don't have no problem doing it if the community wasn't, but I thought based on the reception and as much as we've
know if there's really much of the story there to talk about. That's what surprised me almost more than anything with that game. Not to circle around and turn this into just beating up on it, but man, there's barely any story there. I could hardly tell you what happened with this game because of the way it was delivered and how disjointed it was, where I mean, it was a part of the plan. We don't want to shirk that responsibility. And certainly with like Defining Duke Ultimate coming up, it'd be a great time to pull that one out. But I don't know what we're going to talk about. We talked about the game extensively. And I thought the whole story part would be a spoiler cast, but it just...
I agree.
Really let us down here.
I just think, I mean, the culture has spoken as far as, you know, Redfall. And again, not to beat a dead horse, we have broken this thing now from, you know, from start to finish minus story. And that was like you said perfectly, that was the biggest disappointment, the way it was presented in that kind of storyboardy-ish kind of thing. So I think it's bad unless the community's like, yo.
Yeah, we'll see what the community has to say, right? Well, of course, give them the final say.
Yes.
See if, because really what happens is, to me, the silence says everything. If no one writes comments, then I know that the person listening was like, fuck that. But like, if a lot of people are starting to write in and be like, I'd like to see it. Actually, I have this I want to talk about. Then we'll happily oblige. Just for me as a content creator, I don't see what we would even look at. But of course, I'm willing to have my eyes open to it and to provide you all more stuff. And of course, but the plan was like, this was the start of the Xbox first party delivery. And okay, like here's Defining Duke and what we're going to do. These are our plans. And they kind of let us down. So, you know, I hope that no other games coming from Xbox are going to deliver their story in a similar manner. This should be an outlier.
Yes.
Not as the norm.
I agree.
But just an awkward starting point. Anyway, y'all let us know. Right now, we're leaning towards a no, not because we don't want to do it, because it's just like, what is the story really? But look, of course, you chime in.
We gave y'all Minecraft in the middle. We did have that. So we're hitting the first party joints, and I feel, me personally, you know, to get right back on track with a Starfield and all the other major stuff that we know is coming. But you'll let the community decide. You said it perfectly, Matty. What they want.
Indeed. One last question, and then we'll get into the news here, because I really like this one because it has to do with something I never talk about. Mark Vuokolo writes in, hey, Dukes, this question is from Matty. I know it's a while away, but I wondered if you considered after your game's launch, if you would do some sort of deep dive into your game's development, whether it be a DDU episode or something on one of your channels. I think it'd be interesting to hear a reflection on each stage of development, from concept to alpha to beta to the end product. As fans of video games, it's not too often that we get insight on game development. Hope you guys have couldn't think of anything witty to say, but still sending good vibes kind of day. Mark, we appreciate that. You don't have to be witty every time. Thank you. But yeah, you know, number one, like when people say it's a while away, like what I can say is, based off our current timeline, I'm not making like hey, you're going to see it soon, but like you're probably going to see it within the next year, which I mean, isn't too far off in the scheme of things, but I don't want to tease any type of release date stuff. But I imagine in the next year or change, you'll see what I've been cooking on. So not only one more year of hearing me say I'm working on a game. Isn't that such a great thing to sign up for?
Yes. We get more bars. We get more bars. I like when he did it when we had Craig on from Craig like from
yeah. Yeah, that's my new thing now. I'm just gonna slide it in just kind of because I think it's gonna be funny for the listener when I'm just gonna like treat it like it's a new thing. Like I don't really talk about this much. Craig's like, oh, you're working on a game. Wow. The audience like, Christ.
I was just sitting there. I was like, oh, they just gonna go back and forth. This is great. It was brand new to Craig, so it was awesome seeing that interaction. But he gave good advice. He gave good advice.
He did. Stick to your vision, right? Man. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. So go listen to that DDU. But
yes, big time DDU.
To Mark's question, yeah, definitely. Like I have actually legitimate content plans in mind for when the game launches, and I call it like rain or shine plans. Like I hope the game does well. I hope it reviews well. It performs well. I hope it does all of this, but I kind of want to, I don't want to say lead the charge, but I definitely want to set a standard for what I think developers can do, which is have an open, honest conversation about their game from beginning, middle to end and after, and not have it be this cagey thing. I mean, game development can be ugly at times, but yeah, I want to like post my reaction to the reviews in real time. Like I want to have people see what it's like for someone who's worked on something for 4 or 5 years, be like, I'm watching what the world thinks, and it could be hurtful. It can be exciting just to get that perspective, because I don't think when people craft content, they think of that type of stuff. They just think about what they want to say, and they don't think about who the receiver of it is. So seeing something like that is important. Of course, I want to get into the beginning, middle, end in the terms of development. I want to talk about, ideas that we canned, ideas that we kept, how we formed ideas that people seem to be gravitating to, which we won't know what that is until the game is out, what people maybe didn't like. It's definitely something I want to build a lot of content around, just because, again, I think it's important. I think it's really important that this industry evolves, and I feel like it starts with you, right? So if I'm going to put in and invest, then I'm going to make sure I lead by the example I want to see in others, and that's by really being transparent about the development process. The only real obstacle, I would say, could be when we get a publisher, what would they forbid? And at that point, because they're funding the game, it's like, could I talk budget? Could I talk all those things? My of course goal and demand rather is like, we're going to remain full autonomy of our studio and what we do and what we say and how we behave, if you will. Like, I'm not going to change how I record my shit. Like, that's not what I'm here for. And I'd rather work on my own at that point than change any of that. But I say all of that where that's the only obstacle I can consider that. But I look at what was his name from Sony Santa Monica? I'm blanking on his name. Director
Cory
Barlog. Like, he recorded his reactions to the first God of War reviews, which was really cool to see. Like, that's where the idea came from. I saw him do that. I was like, I love that he did that. I thought that was awesome, transparent. Mm-hmm. He had no idea what to expect, and he showed himself to the world. And I think it gained a lot of respect for Sony Santa Monica, for him as a developer. And it gave people that human side of the game development scene that you just don't see often enough. And I get why, but as someone who's in the public eye enough, to me, I think it's just, I would feel selfish if I didn't. So I'm planning on it, Mark. Obviously, I will talk about it in some way, shape, or form. It's just ironing out what that will be like when the time comes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was awesome what Cory did. I think he should do that. It's kind of dope. And I met Cory one time. He's awesome. He's a really, really good dude. So yeah, I respect it.
Awesome.
Defining Duke is brought to you by Indeed. If you're hiring for your own business, you're basically playing an arcane game on a high chaos playthrough. You just need to breathe, take it easy, keep it simple. If you're hiring, you need Indeed, and here's why. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed data in the US. The reason I love Indeed is because candidates you invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in a search, according to US Indeed data. And they help you get one step closer to the hire by immediately matching you with quality candidates, something that's useful for me as a person who runs multiple businesses. So start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Duke. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/Duke. Indeed.com/Duke. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Defining Duke is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. Accidents are going to happen, sadly. The problem is we just never know when they're going to strike. So it's really about how you react to them. Unfortunately for my brother, a while ago, he did get into a car accident. It was entirely not his fault. He had the right of way, and he was T-boned, and he ended up with a really bad concussion, his second in his lifetime. So when you're injured like that, you can check out Morgan & Morgan, because Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 100 offices nationwide and more than 800 lawyers. They have over $15 billion recovered for clients, so Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy, it's more like using an app than hiring a lawyer. And submitting a claim to Morgan & Morgan is more like ordering takeout than hiring a lawyer. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Duke or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/Duke or #law #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
So with that, Cog, it's time to talk some gaming news.
Yeah.
Let's start off with one that not too surprising here, but maybe disappointing for some. I know a lot of our patrons really like this game. There are currently no sequel plans for Pentiment, according to Josh Sawyer, who answered a fan question on Tumblr. He wrote, "The original non-working title of Pentiment actually was Palimpsest. Microsoft Legal sensed potential difficulty with securing that name, so I renamed it to Pentiment," which I'm going to say, Josh, great choice. Great choice there.
Yeah.
He said, "And no, I have no plans to make any sort of sequel, spiritual or otherwise, for Pentiment. I always intended it as a standalone story. It may inspire ideas, hopefully not just for me in the future, but I'm happy with where we have left it." End quote. So that's where Josh is with we'll call it Pentiment 2. Unsurprising, given what we learned when we interviewed him about this being a passion project, and that, he kind of made it as a, hey, I'm going to go if you don't let me make this. So very much probably thought, well, I'm going to get one shot at this, so we're going to tie the knot here, right? So smart decision making by him to just leave it in a place he's comfortable with. And any thoughts on no Pentiment 2, Cog?
Kind of what you said. I looked at when we interviewed him. Pentiment was part of the marriage arrangement between Obsidian, and what you call it, and Xbox. So the game, I felt, it's a good game. First, let's be clear. You know what I'm saying? It's a good game, but I never got the sense that after I beat it, like, we need a sequel for this. The way it was structured, it told its story very beautifully, generationally in a way. So yeah, sure. I think it's fine. And then let's be honest, the hardcore Xbox fan is like, great, now let's get you into the AAA space that we want you to be in, because that was, as honest as we're going to be, a lot of people were surprised when they first heard, Josh Sawyer's game, okay. And then they saw Pentiment. Even I was guilty of that at first too. Like, it's a smaller title. You know what I'm saying? So now we want to see Josh, okay, with that big, robust budget, and now get back to that expertise that we know him in Vegas and other things. And, you know what I'm saying? We want that AAA energy with that mastermind in the building, and special things will happen. But salute to Pentiment. If you have not played it, great game. Make no mistake. Yes, great game. I really enjoyed it. And I really thought it was very unique. And I came in clowning, and I had to bend the knee. And I was like, nah, it's solid. So for those who haven't played it, go check it out.
Absolutely. It's a really good game. But I think it's good that he's going to have to deviate his attention to things like Avowed, probably, or whatever's up next. Maybe Fallout. That'd be really nice. Hopefully they make use of him in that way. But yeah, definitely Pentiment was more of the stopgap game than like the start of something new. And especially because the way the story is told, people who play will know what I'm talking about. You could kind of argue Pentiment 1, 2, and 3 are in that game.
Yes.
In the way it's delivered. It's just
Literally.
really intelligent design where it doesn't feel that way, but it's just, again, if you play the game, you'll know what I mean and how the story's delivered. They could have built games out of each part of that, like 2 and 3, but the way they delivered it was smart. So it really doesn't feel like it needs any more at all.
Right. And one last point, one thing that he really said, again, y'all gotta listen to that Define Duke Ultimate. It was like he was on fire.
Yeah.
That he kind of alluded to was the palate cleanse of us as gamers. We want what we want, right? Selfishly, but as a creator, if you've been doing something, repetitively for the same style of game or the same type of thing repetitively, so they need these kind of palate cleanse. And this was always something he wanted to do on the side. So I think now he'll be more refreshed from that experience to come back to doing whatever the next thing is. And I think we have to keep sight of that as people who love the genre, love the culture, but creators need the change. They need that sometimes. And even what you call it from Naughty Dog brought that up a lot.
Yeah. Any creative field, you just need to switch it up a little bit. So good on him. And hopefully it's refreshed him enough to go tackle other stuff. No, I actually wasn't being a dick there.
When you said that was wild funny, bro. He was like, I hope he's refreshed enough to get back in the... Yo, you put him on the assembly line quick. Are you refreshed? All right, get back out there and do it.
Get back to it, Josh. Come on now. Grow up.
Love you, Josh. Matty ain't mean it like that. I am throwing sauce on it, Josh. He did not mean it like that.
Good, you're good. Just a couple of player count updates that I thought were interesting here. Forza Horizon 5 continues to storm along. 30 million plus players. That is insane, but that game is doing wild good, man. So I imagine there's going to be more DLC, more support. No wonder they're hanging with it. And to the point where it may have distracted them, understandably so, from Fable for a while, because they anticipated this being a very big one, and rightfully so. For perspective, the game crossed 10 million players at launch. So since then, 20 more million players have hopped in. Very, very impressive numbers there.
Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, when that ROG Ally comes out, that playing Forza Horizon on that console, that handheld, is absolutely gorgeous. That is a showcase. Like, that is something you show off the Ally with. I was playing, I was like, damn, this looks amazing. That 1080p, that FreeSync. Yeah, Forza is cooking out here. And wow, look at the growth. I mean, regardless of what people say, Forza is that game. Can't deny it.
No denying that. And so, that's probably why they were comfortable in delaying Motorsport, because they're like, this'll do fine. So,
yeah, they cooking.
Wise choice there. And then Ravenlok, a Xbox exclusive indie game, has reached 250,000 players, 250,000, which was awesome to see. I have yet to jump in. I know a lot of people seem to be like, yeah, it's good. It's not great. It's not incredible. But to see that kind of milestone was really nice. So congrats to the team. I believe they're Coco Cucumber or something like that. I got to double check, but they got a funky name. Yeah. But the game looks great, and it's awesome to see that Game Pass is helping certain indies out there. Yes,
indeed.
State of Decay 2, I just had to highlight this. We're not going to go over the entire patch notes at all because it's massive, but just to highlight that this game just received its 33rd update. It's called Heart Attack, and it's gigantic. There are updates to Plague Hearts, Infesting Hordes, Infestations. There are siege sites, sieges. There's radio commands that change. There are outpost defenses, quality of life fixes, bug fixes. I mean, it's fair to say now at this point, the State of Decay, if you played it when it first came out and you haven't played it since, it is a totally different game. And I'm very surprised that based off what Phil was talking about with Redfall and how we hang with games, I feel State of Decay 2 was actually the best comparable for what Redfall is and what it could become, right? State of Decay 2, when it came out, I liked it a lot. I liked a lot of its ideas. I enjoyed it, but technically and content-wise, kind of thin, kind of And a lot of people were disappointed. They're like, this still feels like that Xbox Live Arcade-ish, and we're not about that. But over time, as they've jammed this thing full of stuff, it's totally reinvented itself, and it's extremely impressive. So, again, this is just a reminder. Go give it a shot, but if you haven't in a while. But I think this is the better comparable for what maybe Redfall could become if they were to hang with it for this long.
I agree. I think that's a good assessment. I got some insight with this one because we had Undead Labs on right when State of Decay 2 around when it came out, and that was right around the same time Undead Labs actually were acquired by Xbox Game Studios. Okay. So at the time we got the true I got the true insight, which is in the sense that this game was in development pre-acquisition, so to speak. So the scope wasn't as big as it was, and then we know about the technical challenges and stuff like that. But from all intents and purposes, what I hear about this update, the way they're handling the plague hearts, the way they're handling hordes, it is completely rewritten as far as the old way of doing things. Before, me and Addict used to go in there, bust up plague hearts, do all this crazy stuff. It's different now. It's completely. If you have not played this game, it is really different. And I want to give them a shout out. Is one of the few, Redfall, you can listen to this. One of the few games changes they made is you can actually switch between the always online and offline mode. So you can play without that. And I thought that was significant. They added the 60 frames. They did a lot to it. So it has really come full circle on that. And I think it's interesting, though. I will say this, though. It is interesting how much they are still sticking with it, considering the State of Decay 3 development is going on. So I feel there's a part of me, I'm just inferring, that they still needed more time with State of Decay 3. So they it's going to be a little bit, so we're going to keep supporting this.
Exactly. You can take your time because you got something else going on right now, and it's fine. It's good.
Correct.
That's great. So take your time, especially because if other first parties deliver, that's okay. We won't even be thinking about State of Decay 3, and it could be a nice little surprise maybe next year or something like that.
Exactly. So good to see. Good to see them doing their thing.
This is another set of numbers I found really interesting, and I thought of you right away because I'm keen to get your perspective on it. The Xbox Series X and S have reached 2 million sales in the region of the UK and have even cracked the top 10 fastest selling list. So here is that list. At first, it sounds impressive, but you're going to hear a point in the statistic list here, and I think you'll know it when you hear it, where you're going to be like, wait, why is that ahead of that? Hold on. You'll see what I mean. Number one, the Nintendo Wii in 2006, it took 57 weeks to hit 2 million. Then the PS2 is at number 2, releasing in 2000, and it took 60 weeks to hit that mark. The PlayStation 4 in 2013 took 75 weeks to hit the 2 million milestone. PlayStation 5, obviously releasing in 2020, took 98 weeks. The Xbox One in 2013 took 104 weeks. The Xbox 360 in 2005 took 110 weeks. The PlayStation 1 in 1995 took 114. And then there it is, the Xbox Series S and X took 128 weeks. The Nintendo Switch doing 140 weeks in 9th place. And then 10th place being the original Xbox in 2002, taking 162. So while this is an impressive milestone, Cog, technically what the chart suggests right before us is since the Xbox first came out, this is actually the worst the console, we don't know about subscription services, has performed in the region. And it still managed to crack the top 10 list, which is saying something. And it's another thing to look at, well, PlayStation is beating them, but they've always been strong in that region, especially with their partnerships with like FIFA and whatnot that helped them out a lot. But I'm curious what you think of not only the fact that this is technically the worst they've done, not to spin it a negative way, but truly it's the worst they've technically done in the region since the Xbox first came around, but that the Xbox One beat it out pretty handedly. There's a major gap between 104 weeks and 128 weeks to hit the 2 million sales milestone mark. So what do you make of this information here? Obviously, it's great to see that the console is selling in the region, but the PS5 beat it pretty remarkably so. And the Xbox One just a little bit behind that number set. So what do you think?
I know it's great data, right? It is. It's very interesting. Like you say, when you look at it, you say, hey, the Xbox One was ahead of it. If I look at it in a capsule, me and you both agree that the Xbox One launch was strong. And I think the first year is with a great launch lineup. And I remember, Titanfall and a couple other things after post-launch lineup, there was still momentum on it. I think with the series consoles, it's a couple of, if I had to guess by this data, there's a couple of factors here. One, PlayStation has really established dominance in that region. That's number one. Two, they have shifted to the subscription model, right? And the digital model, let's be honest, you're going to need great games in that model. So I think that Sony's beat them. But here's the part that is more interesting than all of that to me. How are they ahead of the Nintendo Switch in the region?
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
That's crazy to me. See, that's the part that throws me off because I'm like, all right, they're not technically doing it. They didn't jump to the 2 million as fast as they did with these 360 and the Xbox One in the UK. What is up with UK? Y'all not liking the Switch? What's going on?
I think it's because you got to remember that came off the Wii U, which really underperformed. And I think it was just not only a system. I mean, it had great software, but it was just mismarketed. And I think when you look at that, the Switch really didn't pick up steam until probably a couple of years deep, right? And then it started to really build momentum because the problem with the Wii U was third-party support, really. Right. Like their exclusives were great. But I think the third-party support wasn't there. With the Switch, I think a lot of people were waiting and seeing. So maybe that's why. But it's a really good point.
Because I'm like, they literally had the killer app with Breath of the Wild. So I'm like, that didn't move. Like, and I thought they didn't have like the greatest launch. They had a solid launch, to your point. Then like the rest of the games took a while. And I think Mario Kart eventually came and stuff like that. I am actually surprised that the series consoles are ahead of that, to be honest. Yeah. But as far as Xbox comparing Xbox to itself, I just think that my gut is what first party offerings were available and then the shift to the subscription services. So maybe people are like, hey, we want to wait and see before we commit to you because now that you're going into this new way of Game Pass. And we've seen retail sales reflective in the UK. Like Xbox is not really on any of the hardware sales and, software sales because it's really digital for them. So I'm curious how you internalize this data.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's one region. I like that the UK is very transparent with game sales data, both in the actual software itself, but the hardware. It's extremely appreciated. Someone who runs a show and tries to track this stuff because it's so muddy and hidden in the United States. We just get rankings on a list, but we never see the numbers for it. Obviously, it's not something to run home and write home about and say like, oh, the Xbox is failing, but to see that this is probably the impact of a launch lineup, I think is something you can glean from this. Like definitely subscription service being a part of it, but Xbox One for as bad as that era was for Xbox, look, man, they launched with good games. And, did they launch with incredible games? No, but they launched with games. And I think some of the best we've seen truly, but that's just my opinion. And, by that 104 week mark, you got to imagine that's Sunset Overdrive territory. So that's really where they started to drop off and nothing was really happening. Then you'd get Gears 4. Then you'd get Forza Motorsport or Horizon 3, I want to say. So it was at that point that they were starting to taper off. So it makes sense why it had an early burst because when Xbox switched and then you saw the games and Titanfall being one of those, like that was a big moment for them.
Oh, yeah.
So I do understand why it had some earlier momentum where maybe the numbers here, this is where we don't have interesting numbers in the sense that the series consoles could have just picked up a lot of steam in the last year, right? Good where point. It's like, oh, our outset was really bad, but we've really picked up in this last year and say 1.2 million of those units were sold in the last year. So they could be doing better or worse, but just on a snapshot level, it's interesting to see the Xbox One was doing better than the series consoles in a particular region that Xbox has found a lot of success in. So want to just cover that. More importantly, though,
here we go.
Crossfire X. Remember that game? Not anymore. It's gone. By the time you listen to this, the game is gone. It's off digital storefronts. It's off Game Pass. Crossfire X is gone, which is a testament to how insanely bad it was, man. There's very few games that I think should just go away. This truly was one of them, though. But Crossfire X, by the time you're hearing this, is gone. As we record this, COG, if you want to get that last hour in, man, you can download it and see what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's got to be the saddest server shutdown of all time, man. Anyway, any thoughts on Crossfire X disappearing?
I mean, rest in peace.
Game preservation, baby.
Look, I mean, game preservation is sad, no doubt. But it looks like they're shutting down. They're offering limited refunds. So
man, they're not even gonna make money off of it either.
Yeah, that is
brutal.
Wow. Yeah, they said they plan to shut the game down May 18th. Unavailable completely. Yeah, this is the cost, I guess, of maintaining this and the multiplayer. They put the statement out. So yeah, it's sad to see because obviously this game had a lot of promise coming in, but at the end of the time, it was just not good. We're not going to dance around it. It's not good. This is one of the few I don't miss, but from a game preservation standpoint, it is scary that a game could just disappear. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That part is interesting.
For sure. As a game preservation guy, like you'd think I'd get a little uppity by this, but I'm just like a little.
Yeah, this is one that's like, all right.
I'll play a little politics with it. Like, what? It's gone. I didn't see anything.
I didn't know it was gone. What happened? Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, didn't do well.
AEW Fight Forever achievements have leaked and preloads are live right now for Xbox. For those who are interested, you all know I'm a big AEW fan. They just announced AEW Collision, which I am really excited for because it looks like MJF is going to headline that, and that means probably CM Punk is going to come to that show, and that the Elite is going to run Dynamite. I mean, if you have not gotten to AEW, it feels like now is a really good time to jump in as they're establishing their second wrestling show. I mean, technically they had to. They split up Dynamite with Rampage, but this is really exciting that it looks like the game is going to drop at the perfect time too, where like things are coming together with the brand. They're getting a lot of talent in. They're doing this show in Wembley called All In. And a lot of people, AEW is fascinating as a company because really all you've had for so long is WWE. You've had like TNA and whatnot, but you've had WWE, WCW, right? You've had all these wrestling brands, but WWE has remained supreme for all this time. And AEW has been like the first real, I'd say, strong long-term challenger to that throne. And what they've really built their legacy on is people saying, no, you can't do that. So they host this show called All In that's going to be this August, and it's in Wembley, and I think it's an 80,000 seat arena.
Oh, Wembley's huge.
In the pre-sales, I think they sold 50,000 tickets. And then the day one, they sold by 65,000, something like that. So they're on their way to fill in the stadium and actually statistically be the biggest wrestling event ever next to WrestleMania, which is crazy to think about. So AEW is growing. Like I said, now's a good time to get into it. The game looks all right. I'm curious once it comes out, but with achievements leaking, preloads going live, this one's been delayed for a long while. Ukes, the original WWE developers, are the ones working on it. They're not planning to do an annualized content release like we saw with the WWE games. So this is going to be it for a while, which is why I think they were okay taking the time with it. But with the THQ showcase coming up and whatnot, I feel like AEW Fight Forever should be primed to drop like this summer, which I'm really excited about. I want to get my hands on this. The achievement show career mode called The Road to the Elite. The achievement show a lot of mini games, a lot of match types. I think an almost 50 character roster. They're planning DLC. So as a huge AEW fan, Create a Wrestler is there, Create a Tag Team is there. I think Create an Arena is there. Okay. So it's looking like the complete package. I think it's really, to me, going to go down to, I'm not a big graphics guy, but it does not look graphically impressive.
Gotcha. It look like that next gen. Okay.
Yeah, it looks more like arcadey, which I think could intrigue some people, but when you look at what WWE's done with the 2K series, like they have that shit looks good, right? So they're going to be dunking on them in that department, but it kind of has that No Mercy sort of arcadey style, and I think that's going to win a lot of people over and get people involved in it. So the release of this game is also a testament to just the strength of the brand, the fact that they were able to invest in it and get this far. I think bugs are going to be another thing I'm interested in seeing how it's handled, but. Any thoughts on AEW Fight Forever? The achievements have leaked. Preloads are live. Is it something you would ever be interested in checking out, my friend?
No, actually, the Lords have a very pristine wrestling game history. We love wrestling games. And the thing that got our attention was Ukes initially behind it. And then, look, if they do anything resembling the No Mercy combat system, I always felt was the superior wrestling kind of control scheme, kind of paper, scissors, rock, strike, hit, kind of thing, throw. So I'm hopeful for it. The graphics to me are like horror. They clearly not better than WE, but as long as if they get the core gameplay down, that's all I care about. I can play with wrestling games. It's weird. I'm not as much a graphics whore with it. If the gameplay is fun and I feel it's balanced, and you got that classic go back and forth, and we'll see how they do the spirit meters and all that other stuff. So and the ranking. The key with these games to me is how rankings are handled, and if there's a hierarchy and how much the differential is between the top guys and the jobbers. See how that goes. So I'm
true. The statistics, because the thing is it's all like acting, right? So obviously they put their bodies on the line and stuff, and they're trying to tell stories, but like it is acting at the end of the day. So you don't want to hurt anyone by being like, You was 70 overall, my friend.
Yeah. Bro, they be in their feelings with these ratings, bro.
Dude, wrestling, I feel bad for like Tony Khan, Vince McMahon. I feel bad for these guys because it literally is a game of managing egos. Everyone in wrestling has a fucking massive ego. Like I watch AEW All Access. Like this, dude, it's my version of the Kardashians. I'm sitting there. I'm so invested in these guys and gals. Like I love watching them beef behind the scenes. I'm like, I don't even know if it's made up. I love this. I'm not a reality TV guy, but bro, I'm watching these. They got such egos most of the time. I'm just like, damn, bro. Poor Tony Khan. This guy's just a nice, timid man. And he's got to handle these dudes who are like larger than life. And they're like, what do you mean you're not going to give me screen time? That's why this new show was created, because there was so much talent that was displeased that they were not getting screen time. So AEW has an abundance of talent. They just didn't know how to show them off because I don't think they were big enough. Now they're big enough with Collision and stuff. It's going to be, as well as I think they're going to be at a strength now because they got two really good sets of rosters, and I'm really excited to see how it shakes out.
That's dope, man. No, I'm definitely paying attention to this. And I'll be honest, wrestling games being good get me more into actually watching. That's the key. Yep. That's literally, like, I wasn't watching WCW like that until those games came out. And I'm like, all right, I got to pay attention every week. So yeah, those will inspire me to get it, especially if it lands. Wasn't there a Game Pass thing or that was a rumor? There was a rumor and then AEW shut it down. Okay. But that was last year. So or earlier this year. I'm not sure, but they did shut it down on their Twitter account. Okay. But you know, Kai, I always say, I think it makes sense. They're trying to get, AEW is growing, is established, is big. Like they're pulling 1 million viewers on some of their episodes of Dynamite, but they're still growing. And their goal is to beat WWE, no doubt about it. And I think you got to get that exposure. And I just think of MLB The Show, man, like Game Pass. Like this is a time where I think it makes a lot of sense. So we'll see if they lock in a day one deal. Good, they got a shot. Absolutely. All right. This is a big one. Overwatch 2's PvE mode has been officially scrapped. Let's read the quote. Development on the PvE experience has not really. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me reread that. I might have mistyped this. Development on the PvE experience hasn't made the progress that we hoped, New said. The team has created a bunch of amazing content, so there's awesome missions that are really exciting. There are brand new enemies that are super fun to fight and some truly great and ridiculous hero talents. But unfortunately, the effort required to pull all of that together into a Blizzard quality experience that we can ship to you is huge, and there really is no end in sight or defined kind of end date where we can put that out into the world. And so we're left with another difficult choice. Do we continue to pour all of that effort into PvE, hoping we can land it at some point in the future, or do we stick with this set of values that we have aligned on and focus on the live game and focus on serving all of you? With everything that we have learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that we can't deliver on that original vision for PvE that was shown in 2019. What that means is we won't be delivering that dedicated hero mode with talent trees, that long-term talent, power progression. Those things are just not in our plans anymore. And we know that this is going to be disappointing to many of you, which is why we wanted to bring up before we talk about the roadmap. And to be perfectly honest, it's been really difficult for many of us and a lot of folks on the team that poured their heart and soul into that stuff. So they did show off a Season 6 roadmap after this that does look pretty solid, in fairness. But then we also learned in some separate interviews that it looks like they knew for about 1.5 years that this wasn't going to be a thing. And they continued to build the game around it, market it. And obviously with the game releasing last October, it's in that window. If they knew, they probably wouldn't hit it and still sold it to us as that. I got to say, man, as someone who's a big Overwatch stan, like one of those guys who was fighting for it to be Game of the Year in 2016, was saying like it deserves it. It's a genre changer, a genre definer. I have never seen a company outside of maybe what happened with Halo Infinite fuck up such an obviously easy to manage from my perspective opportunity here where the sky is the limit with Overwatch. I'm not saying this is the end of it, but it is a pin in the balloon, no doubt, that what people paid money for was pretty much a patch at this point. And, you know, the writing was on the wall, right? And I said it in my review, the writing was on the wall. You looked at it going into launch. They went from premium to free to play. This game had panicked last minute decision making all fucking over it. So this doesn't surprise me, but it's no less extremely disappointing because what people have wanted from Overwatch since day one
was more stories. Not the cinematic trailers, Blizzard. More stories. We're going to get hero missions and stuff, but more interaction with this colorful, imaginative cast of characters. I mean, they got something here, man. I've never seen, again, outside of Halo Infinite, someone blow it this bad. And I think in a couple ways this is worse because this looks easier. Like, you got the heroes. It's just unbelievable, but unfortunate we'll never see what it is. So, Cog, any thoughts on Overwatch 2's PvE mode not being a thing anymore? Because I know this is one of the things you were holding out for.
Oh, I got things. I got thoughts.
Come on, hit me with them. Let's go.
Look, I was on the opposite side of the fence of you during that time. The Overwatch community was not happy with me. And I just said, look, I get it. The gameplay, the hero-based shooter is excellent. Never going to take away from the quality of Overwatch 1 and what it did for the culture. My issue was I just felt that with these great characters, you need to tell a story. You need to tell a narrative. These characters, to me, jump off the page. It's a testament to the game. So I felt like, how is it no narrative associated with this game? And I always felt it's okay. It's a PvP game at its core. Great. Give me something to care about. And that's why I personally couldn't give it that. And they ragged me. They're like, Cog, you can't do that. Fair enough. Okay, so now I'm told, Cog, part 2, you're getting it. Story, PvE, this, that. I'm like, great, let's go. And the thing to me that rubbed me the wrong way was always the way Overwatch 2 was handled. The way they made it seem like, you needed part 2. They could not continue with part 1 anymore.
They got rid of part 1. They stopped supporting it before that. What?
These changes. And I'm watching now the hardcore community turn on them. And I'm like, we're going to see about this too. We're going to see if it hits all these metrics. And they had a fairly decent launch for the most part. Yeah. But this was the mode. I'm like, okay, we're going to get a story. Then it's not there at launch. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go. And I'm like, oh, it's coming, Cog. Okay. Now we get the truth. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I saw one of the developers put out, we worked so hard on it, please have, empathy. And I got empathy for the developers, people working on something that gets scrapped, no doubt. It's not their fault. But the decision-making behind this game just showed me it never really needed to. It never really needed a part 2. For some reason, Bobby and the team or whoever felt,
Skylanders Bobby.
We got to cash out. We got to keep this. Think about this is during the Call of Duty pump them out era. We got to keep this pumping. So now this mode is now a casualty. And it's a shame. I don't like it at all. I'm going to be honest. I don't like it at all. To me, let's be honest, you can make the argument that this is deceptive. You told people you were going to have something, that this was what Overwatch 2 was going to consist of, and now this whole thing is just not coming anymore. Like, wow. So the latest I heard is there's going to be a co-op mode or something instead, is what I'm hearing.
Like the hero missions kind of, yeah.
All right. But again, it's a shame because even though I feel I've been proven right and I get to talk my talk, it's a shame because, like, I look at a character like Genji, Ninja, like, I love the character. You know what I'm saying? Got the reflection, whatever. Tell me the story of him and his brother. Like, tell me what's going on in this world. Like, why can't you do this? And it's just really unacceptable the way this was handled. And I hope this is a lesson learned. I'm curious about what's going to happen with this franchise. How are we doing on the engagement numbers? I'm curious. What's going on these days?
I can look into it in a moment. I was just thinking also how Xbox is definitely inheriting a headache with this game. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So that's the other thing that is they got to be wise to this stuff, I imagine, before they make an investment of like the amount they're doing. It's $68 billion. They got to remember now that they've learned with Redfall that if stuff's reflected on them, then something like this would have been bad for them too. So they got to keep in mind they're inheriting a headache here. Let's see here. Dexerto, how many people play Overwatch 2 player count tracker May 2023? And they say here, hold on. I got something here. I saw something with 1 million, which would be pretty great here.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Blizzard doesn't publicize the exact numbers of players across all editions of the game, so we have to turn to a third party to make an educated guess. However, it's worth noting that Active Player purely uses educated guesses to discover the player count. So while there's no information from developers regarding Overwatch 2's player count, we can make a guess as to how popular the game really is. According to Active Player, Overwatch 2 averages 1,743,321 players a day,
Healthy.
and a total of 26,149,814 active users in the last 30 days. This is from April 23rd, continuing the player base's steady growth from Overwatch 2.
Okay.
On October 14, 2022, Blizzard revealed that 25 million players had played Overwatch 2 in the first 10 days of the servers going live. So it seems plausible that they would continue around that. And that's definitely, like, again, why I don't think it spells the end and that season 6 looks good where people will hang around. But these companies got to start recognizing, like, yes, live service can overpower things. Comeback stories are great, but there is egg on the face and there is an optics to this all where I understand there's a business reality to why this was shut down, no doubt about it, because they know it's going to hurt the image of the game. But this type of stuff lowers the ceiling, no doubt. I'm not that Overwatch 2 can't grow, but it lowers that intrigue because now you just checked off a ton of people off the list who are going to go, like COG, well, I was in. Nah, I'm not. I'm out. I got my live service game already. Like, that was your way of pulling me in and getting me into that Overwatch 2.
And look, I understand that I might be in the minority here because, in fairness to them, I'm looking at just on the Xbox ecosystem right now. Xbox most played. They're sitting at number 12, this is pretty impressive. You know what I'm saying? It's Destiny's 10, Jedi Survivor as a single player game was 11, and then there's Overwatch 2 at 12, which is impressive. I mean, still in the top 15, top 20, so it is getting played, no doubt. But it's just curious to me that why it had to be scrapped completely. I guess that's what's bothering me. Like, there's no way it could have moved forward, and I don't know. I think Schreier has some insight on it as far as feeling empathy for the team. I'm just curious as to why it just can't have existed, like why the feel we have to make a clean break, we can't do it anymore. I'm very curious on that decision.
Yeah, especially when it's live service and the plan is to continue supporting it. It must have been in a more disastrous position than we've been privy to, because from 2019 to then cut it off now, they must have been like, they just figured out a way to go, then mapped out the timeline again and was like, this is going to be another 4 years. It's going to be 2027 by the time we get this out, and it's 2019 when we announced it. So there's also that. I mean, they messed up bad, man. Like, that's all there is to it. It's not the developer's fault, but like the way they branded it, of course, the need for a Blizzard net account and how you had like tie your phone number to it was like a big thing. Like, there's just a ton of stuff with this game that was messy where, again, it's doing well. I have no doubt about that. I never denied it. It's just like you're lowering that ceiling more and more, where it's like eventually, if you were to try to do an Overwatch 3, like, people are just gonna be like, oh, here we go. That's the other thing I wonder. Like, if you're gonna do an Overwatch 2, then a 3 is possible, and why not shift the development of this single player component to a third game? Or are you, again, like, maybe you stretch it out far more than you could have anticipated by making it from 1 to 2 somehow. So I don't know, but just completely mismanaged.
Yeah, it'll come out at some point, and we'll get the real as far as the development, issues with it.
Let's move on to Sega here. Not surprising news here, but it looks like they're looking to raise the price of their games to $70 now. They wrote, in a global marketplace, AAA games for consoles have sold for $59.99 for many years, but titles sold at $69.99 have appeared in the last year. We would like to review the prices of titles that we believe are commensurate with price increases while also keeping an eye on market conditions, end quote. So they're probably like thinking about Persona 6 and they're like, oh, we can make an extra $10 off of this per person and have the same level of investment. That's the thing, man. Once that $70 barrier broke, I understand game development's getting more expensive and whatnot. So I'm not denying any of that, but there's no doubt there's developers who are looking at the budget staying the same for them and just managing an extra $10 per copy and doing the math for that. They're like, we can make an extra $2 million. Oh, just 70. Everyone else is doing it. So Sega's been earning my 70. So, I'm just not paying 70 for that next Yakuza game. No doubt about it.
Oh, bro.
No.
Don't do that. Your man is in it, though. What happened? Your man is in it.
That's fine.
So, he doesn't justify the 70. I know you don't like my man. Yeah. Shout out to Ichiban. But your man ain't worth the 70?
No, not that bushy hair, dude. No. Kiryu, though? Yeah. Absolutely.
Isn't he in? What you call it? Like,
yeah.
Oh, so that don't count, though. Okay.
No.
Oh, so basically your man is not enough, too. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to go at Ichiban, man. I can't stand that dude. I can't stand him. What would make this showcase for Xbox bad is if they decide to team up with Yakuza again, and then we see Ichiban like lead off the showcase. Yeah, right. Because I hear you in my head like, oh, it's hot. Let's go. Yes. I'm just like with this ugly look on my face, like, why, Phil?
You gonna leave my man Ichi, but he's the culture, man. Your man is yesterday's news. We ain't doing that no more. It's the new wave, turn-based.
Yeah.
Ichiban is the future.
I'll be honest though, based off what they're doing with Kiryu and how he looks with that gray comb over, man, like he looks whack compared to older games, man. So yeah, they need to figure that out because Ichiban can't be looking cooler than him, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Real quick on this. 70 looks like it's the wave. I'm very curious where they attach 70 to. Like I said, Persona, the new. I did see some data from Sony in reference to 70 games and saying that actually the game sales are down a little bit for them once they went to 70, but people are spending more in the actual games that they did purchase with that. So it is interesting to track that game sales are a little bit down with them. And this was like a PlayStation specific, data tracking thing that they were talking about themselves. So yeah, I'm curious with that. But yeah, man, this is where it's going. This is where it's going. And everyone is now crossing that line into that realm. So yeah, I get ready. There's more. But I will say this in defense, corporate. I got to say that the market determines, and we're seeing Tears of the Kingdom right now, right? Which we'll get into. Yeah. $70, and look at. Do you see these records Nintendo is breaking right now?
10 million sales in 3 days. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, as much as gamers, but when it's our heart, we go, and they know it. So it's a trend that it just keeps on going, and I'm very curious to see who's the next that's going to jump into the space. So yeah,
absolutely. Very few remain. So
yeah,
we will watch closely, but be unsurprised at the same time. Xbox Store data miner Azure Nementi Lumia has uncovered that Lords of the Fallen may be releasing on October 13th, 2023. So someone has planted a flag in October finally. And this game I'm interested in because there was, like they had a first Lords of the Fallen game. It's the same team, and now they're doing it again by the same name. So despite all of that, game looks cool. Very interested in seeing more on it. But October 13th, so starting to see the holiday fall window begin to fill out and take form. And no doubt we will with the PlayStation Showcase, the Xbox Showcase. We're going to see more and more games pop up. But this is the start of that.
Yeah, very nice.
This one will unfortunately have to keep brief because this will all happen after our show goes live. But Mortal Kombat reveal has been teased by Ed Boon. By the time you're listening to this, it should have been revealed. Jez Corden had reported that it's called Mortal Kombat 1. He corroborated what Billy Coon had said, who's by the way, Billy Coon's been on a roll. This dude's been leaking everything accurately. But apparently Mortal Kombat 1 is a reboot, hence the name. They're looking at a September 2023 launch window, and the character pass should include Peacemaker and more, which is awesome, by the way. But Mortal Kombat getting a reboot kind of makes sense if you played the story of the last game. So very intelligent move by Ed Boon there. I always wonder how NetherRealm hasn't gotten tired of going back and forth. I just you think there was a rumor of, was it a Marvel fighting game? There was a rumor of for them, but just with the constant ping pong in between Injustice and Injustice 3 was, I think, in the NVIDIA leak, if I remember correctly. So that's probably coming after a Mortal Kombat reboot. So they're just ping-ponging between these two series. And I respect it. I like that they're sticking with both and making something of it. But I'm surprised that, we talked just earlier about Josh Sawyer and creatively refreshing. And I'm just surprised they were able to just go back and forth. You hear about Todd Howard say, after ping-ponging Fallout, Elder Scrolls, we had to do something new, Starfield. So they got to be getting ready to do something new. But who knows? But Mortal Kombat, after all these entries, subject to a reboot. And bro, it's about to be an amazing year for fighting games. Bro. Tekken, Tekken may not come out this year. We'll see though, I hope. Yeah. But then you got Mortal Kombat, you got Street Fighter, man. I mean, lots of good stuff. So what are you feeling about a new Mortal Kombat game entering the fight?
Yeah. Oh, come on. This is, I'm a Tekken main, admittedly, but I have to say Boon and the team, the last 4 years, they got it. They got it. What it is like you talked about the rebooting and the narratively, they find a way to creatively reinvent themselves and tell these awesome timeline stories. Think about almost multiverse level what if kind of situations. Highly advise people. I put it on a Duke before when I had it as a Game Pass pick of the week. Highly advised. Play the last Mortal Kombat. Play the Aftermath DLC. I believe it's still on Game Pass.
Aftermath. Yeah, I remember we talked
You
about
gotta play. Aftermath sets up whatever. I know what they're doing, so I can't spoil it. If you play Aftermath, y'all gonna know, and you're gonna be like, yo, this is dope what they're about to do. Nice clean start. And yeah, I'm excited. They literally in the game, you're gonna know exactly what it is. So I'm super pumped for them, Boon and them. Again, and it comes to fighting games. Not only are they classic Mortal Kombat, and they've improved that, but in terms of narrative storytelling, nothing is touching Mortal Kombat right now. Tekken, you got to get back to what you used to do, and try to see if you can match. But what's beautiful about Mortal Kombat, all the roster is included in the narrative from their perspective, usually at some point, at some chapter, voice acted. Just you care about the character, so they've raised the bar, and I think it's their movie, kind of the WB stuff. Then they got some amazing guest characters. They had RoboCop, and you can do these the movie. It's just they really do their thing. So I'm excited. By the time this comes out, it'll be released. I don't anticipate anything except greatness. I'll be shocked if it didn't wow. So I'll be. I
think the big thing they've stumbled with is microtransactions. They did it with the Crypt. They had it with Injustice 2 and the little parts you can equip to your character. That's the thing I worry a bit about with this game, because it's just been twice now. But the last Mortal Kombat game was amazing. I love that. Kung Lao main here.
Wait, bro. We Kung Lao mains.
Really?
I never knew this.
There we go.
We Kung Lao mains.
Bro.
That's crazy. That's my guy. I fell in love
with Kung Lao. Really? I always liked him. But then it was the fatality in MK9 where you put the hat on the floor and you drag the dude through the saw blade. And I was just like, that's disgusting. Like some sick fuck came up with that, and I love it. But bro,
let me just say this. Please. Now that I know this information, mini spoiler, please end this game on the Aftermath DLC. You specifically. You need to do this ASAP.
Okay.
You need to do this ASAP. That's all I'm gonna say.
Wow, bro.
Ooh, you gonna like what's going down.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I gotta get on it then. That'll be on my list.
Yes. It's quick. It's quick. You'll bring that out in like.
How much is Aftermath anyway? Like,
I think it may be part of this game. It was at the time part of the Game Pass thing. I don't know if it still is. We have to check. We have to check, see if Game Pass.
The audience will want to know this too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know if the deal ran out, but there was a time when you put in Mortal Kombat Aftermath, it was part of it. But
it's a $40 expansion, so
maybe not.
better be in Game Pass. Oh wait, Mortal Kombat game.
Mortal Kombat 11. Okay.
Hold on. We might be cooking here. What content is included in Mortal Kombat 11 with Xbox Game Pass? This is on the Mortal Kombat game support page, updated 4 days ago. Mortal Kombat 11 main game is included for Game Pass members. The Shao Kahn playable character, Combat Pack 1, Aftermath expansion, and Combat Pack 2 are sold separately.
Okay, so you got to pick up the Aftermath. How much they charge you for the Aftermath, though? How much?
$40
Damn!
bucks.
Damn! You didn't even get no Game Pass deal, no minus, no low 39, 35. Damn! They charge you off. Yeah. Well, it is an additional story. I don't feel it's $40 worth. I feel it should be about $20. Damn. I'm so tempted, man. I would buy it for you because
no. I can afford it. It's just like one of those,
gift.
It's not Yakuza energy. It's like, all right, if it's 3 hours, this better be the best goddamn 3 hours of my life. If you're charging me $40 for this shit, man.
Damn, I didn't know it was $40.
They add new characters though, right? They got to.
Yeah, I believe it was about. I would say Sindel and Nightwolf, and I think it's about Shanks.
Nightwolf.
Yeah, I think it's about 3 or 4 characters. If I had to remember. Oh yeah, your man, the dude from the Wind dude, Raiden's brother's in it, Fujin.
Okay.
Fujin from an old Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I think it's about 4 characters. I would say Fujin, Shang Tsung, Nightwolf, Sindel, and maybe one other person is in that.
Bro.
But no, I mean, damn, I wish the story though. The story's so good.
Okay, I gotta check it out. Gotta check it out. Anyway, we'll talk more about Mortal Kombat next week, I imagine.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more at the PlayStation Showcase. That's my little brief prediction that can age like sour milk. But
I'm with you. I'm on the same prediction.
Still got a couple more to bang through here, about 5 or so more.
Let's get it.
This one's a quickie. Telltale's The Expanse begins with episode 1 on July 27th, with new episodes arriving on a bi-weekly cadence from that point, with the series wrapping up on September 21st, 2023. So I don't know what Telltale's up to. I'm pretty sure they ran into financial trouble because they were doing this type of stuff, and they went back and immediately started doing this type of stuff with The Expanse, no less, which great, by the way, but I'm just saying, I'm curious if they will find success here. I'm rooting for them. Yeah, I like Telltale Batman, Tales from the Borderlands, and of course Walking Dead. But like outside of that, I was not like a Telltale guy diving into everything that they did. So I'm just really hoping this pans out for them. But they just got to make it to the Wolf Among Us 2. That's what they got to make it to. If they do that, we're Gucci. But any thoughts on Telltale's next game?
Yeah, I was a Telltale fanboy. I pretty much picked up everything they did. But
nice.
Yeah, I saw the decline. So I will give you that. I like that you mentioned the Batman. I love the Batman. Playing the Bruce Wayne segments were really good. Really. So yeah. Oh yeah, excellent. And Wolf Among Us is probably God tier for them. That was. Man, and Tales, one of the funniest ones. So yeah, I'm looking for
ending to Wolf Among Us still sits with me. I'll always remember like it was the summer. I was sitting there on my computer when I finished it. That just deadpan look on my face of just holy shit.
Yeah,
that just happened. Like that game is so good. If you haven't played it, y'all gotta check it out. Especially that final episode, the way it comes together with all your choices. Together. Masterpiece.
That is pinnacle Telltale.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they got formulaic after that, and they started to chase the license bag. And I even played that. Remember when they had a Game of Thrones one? Did you ever play that one?
I heard that was not that great. I never tried it.
They were chasing every bag. Every license, they was part of it. I remember playing the Guardians of the Galaxy one. I think they had one too.
That one I remember I saw, I felt really flat about. I was like, what the hell?
Wasn't that great either. But yeah, let's see. I'm pulling for them though.
There was a massive Assassin's Creed Mirage leak from a French YouTuber that goes by the name of Jonathan. So, by all means, if you want, take it with a grain of salt, but it seems reliable enough to talk about. I'm going to run through a list of bullet points that were captured on a Reddit post here just to keep it brief and easy for y'all. Obviously, keep in mind, if you don't want to know anything about Mirage, you can skip a little bit ahead, but nothing super spoilery here. Just a decent amount of tidbits, but again, nothing heavy spoilers in the terms of the story. So the estimated release date is October 12th this year, with the latest being in November. The game was originally, as we have heard already, written as DLC for Valhalla, then turned into a standalone game as it gained more depth during development. The gameplay seems to be closer to Assassin's Creed Origins, with lots of gadgets and items to use during the mission. The skill tree is smaller, with only about 15 skills to unlock and several weapons to unlock with big missions. There are 4 main assassination targets closer to AC1, as you'll have to investigate these targets to know who they are and then gain information before killing them. They said there's almost a complete disappearance of the mythology. Apparently, there's no more godlike powers to use during battle, so I think a lot of people will actually like that. I know you seem so on it, but I think a lot of people are going to dig that if they want the classic AC vibe. The story of Bazim starts as a simple thief who comes across an artifact of the first civilization. There is an Isu temple in the Alamut fortress, which is actually said on the AC Wiki, apparently. The map will be a lot smaller than the past few games. Only the city of Baghdad and its surroundings will be explorable. The story will explore how the Order went from the hidden ones to the assassins we know, which actually sounds awesome, by the way. More stealth, tailing, and listening missions are back. They're really going back to the classics, even in design, it sounds like. The Eagle is still here, as in the one that's above in the sky that you can ping enemies, but they say Eagle Vision is also back. The notoriety system returns, making guards more and more suspicious of you. There is no more choosing your character or having dialogue choices or choices that impact the story. They said don't expect the parkour to be as great as it was in Unity, which I don't know if Ubisoft will ever come close to that again. And then factions are back, like with Ezio, where you can recruit thieves, mercenaries, etc. And there's not a lot of cutscenes that go back to the present day. And the Codex is back. So a lot of stuff that just, again, is based off what we've heard about the game goes into that classic Assassin's Creed design, for better or for worse, because they say tailing, listening missions. So it is going to be a return to form in that regard. But I'm curious what you think of this, Kyle, because I know both you and I have said, hey, like I personally have liked the last couple of Assassin's Creed games. I loved Odyssey. I thought Valhalla was great. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I really did enjoy it. But I'm ready to go back to more classic Assassin's Creed. Like Valhalla felt like the last hurrah. It was a very big video game. Okay, let's start to condense. Let's start to get back to the essence of this series where you're tracking targets. I really liked where Unity was going as a franchise. Like I feel Unity being a technological disaster was the worst thing that could happen to that series, because in the terms of design, like the way you had different approaches to mission, not even the parkour that people celebrate, just the approach to assassination of targets was very Hitman-like, and I missed that a lot. So this feels like it's getting back to focusing on that, which I'm very interested in. Assassin's Creed 1, pretty much all of them leading into Unity were very simple and just like hit and blade that sucker. But I do hope they experiment with that again. But I like that they're going back to the essence. I'm curious as to your thoughts on AC Mirage and its leak.
Yeah, mostly positive from what I'm hearing. It's funny because you mentioned Unity and it just it gave me a flashback. Actually, that game was responsible for me and Addict's friendship.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because he was selling it hardcore and I was selling Destiny hardcore, and we were both championing our game and fanboying our game so hard. And then I'm like, well, if you try Unity, he's like, if you try Unity and then I'll try Destiny. And then our friendship kind of took off. And we both kind of, so it's funny you mentioned, I'm like, damn, it's been that long. But now look, this is the Assassin's Creed energy that COG likes, you know, the investigation, the learning more about the targets before you could just beeline and try to assassinate someone. I feel like that kind of lends to my ninja sensibilities, and that it's the option to kill the person is not available until you do these things. I like that. I like tailing missions. I think that is cool. It just puts me in the assassin vibe of Assassin's Creed. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I know unpopular opinion, people love Valhalla and Odyssey and all that new stuff. It's just not assassin stealthy stuff enough for me. So this seems to be what I like. There was like one or two things I wasn't too sure about, but as far as not a lot. Okay, I hope they mean not a lot of cutscenes to the present day Desmond-y stuff. That's why I hope that's what that means, as opposed to not a lot of cutscenes in general. That I want to clarify. So I think that's what they mean. Factions seem cool. For the most part, I'm pretty okay with most of this stuff here, and I've always liked the idea of like, what is it, Baghdad, and you know what I'm saying? Like this is a cool
AC1 vibe.
Yeah, this is a biome and an environment.
Revelations also was back in the Middle East, so
yes, I like untold biomes and cultures and stuff like that. Yeah. That to me really hits the target. So I am interested. This is the one probably for me. You know, I've taken like a 4 Assassin's Creed hiatus off, and I would like to get back into this. And just give me the one request. If you don't do it through the whole game, just give me a little move through the crowd energy. Just for me. That's what made me fall in love with this game.
Mechanic, yeah.
Give me the blend. Let me sit down.
If they got the notoriety system, they have to have that, because that's how you would get by guards at times. Like that's how you'd sneak into enemy fortresses. Like you'd blend. Like I remember that you'd like pray with everyone.
Let me go through the old Jerusalem in front, like I'm here for a holy thing, but I'm really trying to murder the target. Like that's the Hitman energy, bro. Like that's why let me scheme. Be a soft, call it murk and murder. Let me murk in the cut. Then I get you. That's my joint, son. That's ninjaism. That's the shinobi right there. So like, I'm feeling it so far. So hopefully so good.
Yeah. So I imagine we'll hear about it soon, maybe during the summer. This one's a little Matty story, but I've always championed the Trail series on this show because I think it needs exposure. And Falcom has confirmed, the developer of the Trail series, that the Western sales of Trails from Zero and Azure have exceeded their expectations. Now, this is unfortunately not on Xbox yet, but Easel Games wrote in, who I know just based off what I see in the Defining Duke Discord, this man is super passionate about Falcom. I got friends like this, man. You either ride hard for Falcom or you don't at all. Like, that's what I've learned. So Easel Games is a perfect representation of that. He writes, Hey, Definers, first time write-in, long time listener, short time tagging Matty on Discord with my JRPG ramblings. With the Legend of Heroes series seemingly picking up lately due to the success of Zero and Azure, what do you think this means for the future of their localizations? Do you feel this franchise would do well enough on Xbox? And lastly, How do you think the situation with Xseed will play out? Do you think someone can come in and get the publishing rights for the games they own in the series, or do you feel like they will have to hold on for a while? Have a PlayStation just announced a showcase and suddenly all the CMA discourse has faded, but I have to cover it anyway. Kind of day. Lastly, shout out to both of you for all the work you do. The grind is real, and your willingness to reach out to your community should be praised. Also, kudos to the modders who translated the games to make this possible, by the way. Thank you, Easel, for writing in. Congrats on your first time writing in selection here on Defining Duke. Yeah, so this is exciting to see because Trails from Zero is my favorite in the whole series. Like, I think that game is one of the best JRPGs I've played. The community rides hard for Azure. This game cured cancer, Cog, if you ask anyone. But this game,
it's like that.
Oh, it's like that. And I'm not crazy on Azure. Like, I think it's a good game, but I think it's some of the worst parts of Trails in terms of its mechanics, its fundamentals, and grossly exaggerated. Like, the game has a tendency to go on with its dialogue. I love dialogue. I love writing dialogue. I love lots and lots of dialogue. But I think Azure just has these stretches that are nauseatingly long. Like, it's self-indulgent level writing. Where I'm just
pontification.
Like, yes. And I'm talking like it's hard to recommend as someone who's a friend of the series, a fan of the series. I'm just like, bro, y'all got to just bring a pair of scissors, cut it short. Holy shit. And this cuts. But with Zero, I mean, this is a strong JRPG. It's a more human story, which is why I like it. And that's what Trails has really done for me, is it shows that JRPGs can be really good and tell stories not about always fighting God, but really about your fellow man. And I think because it's grounded in humanity, it's very appealing to me. The tough sell on Trails is the longevity of the series. It really bucks the trend that you see nowadays, which is reboot. We just talked about Mortal Kombat. What Falcom does is they have an ongoing story that's passing 10 games now. And if you look in Japan releases, the next entry in the series is Reverie this July. It's a culmination of the last 9 Trails games. Insane. Trails from the Sky, Zero, Azure, all the 4 Cold Steel games. It's insane. There's a lot of story there, but that's why people love it. And in the last 2 years, it's had 2 million sales, and the series total is 7 million sales. So recently it's picking up. So to answer Easel's question, really, but the future of localizations, like, I think it fit on Xbox, but I think the only way it comes to Xbox is truly through Game Pass. Because to me, it's much of what I said earlier about AEW. I look at Game Pass as an opportunity for expansion for brands who want it, right? You're making money off these games with your PlayStation, with your Switch base. And if you're going to go approach a new audience, Trails is a niche series, no doubt about it. It's fantastic, but it is a niche series. And I think if you kind of did what Xbox, I always remember that graphic when they said all Final Fantasy games are coming to Game Pass, and you just saw all the logos. To me, I remember that and going like, what? Awesome. Same thing with Yakuza. If they do that, Trails needs to have that, because Trails is one story. But the problem is, as Easel kind of alluded to here, the situation with Xseed, they published Trails in the Sky 1, 2, and 3. And the problem with that is NIS America came in and has helped publish the rest of the series. So now you got split publishers. So somehow Falcom's got to get the Sky games out. My guess is they're going to remake them. I think that's how they're going to circumnavigate it. I think they're going to remake Sky 1, 2, and 3. I really do. Because this was in the birthday of their company. I like Sky 1, but like, again, very self-indulgent, very much. I call it world building the game. It's insane, bro. It's just it's a 40-hour game just to establish, here's Liberl, here's the surrounding countries, here's the folks, like, here's the seaport city of Rouen, like, here's what we do here. We fish. and you're a bracer, and you're pretty much a mercenary, and you do odd jobs, and it's just that. And then the end of the game happens, you're like, I need to know what happens next. But everything leading up into that is just very slow. But for its time, I think it was fantastic, because for its time, it's just, again, a very human story. And I like that. But I think they're going to remake those games. I personally just feel like when you look at, I don't want to spoil too much, but certain characters will reappear in parts of the entire series. And I think assets are made where they could remake Sky perhaps a little bit easier. And I think it would bring a lot of attention to the series, because remakes are the wave. You remake Sky 1, it's the very core starting point of the series. People are starting to get into it. And Falcom's philosophy is, we're going to just keep rolling and hope that you pick up the newest one and go, I want to know what happens. Why was this significant? Why was this significant? and you go all the way to the beginning. And then it's like a long book you're reading.
Yeah, it's a novel. Bro.
Yeah, so I feel like that's how they're going to circumnavigate it. Easel is probably getting away with a remake. If they can unearth the collection, which is possible, then I think they'll do that. But, the problem that Trails has is they're working backwards. They had the Cold Steel series, which is more modern looking. Then you have Zero and Azure, which is the old Trails art style, which is in the middle of the story. And that released first as localized games. And then now Sky, I'm assuming they're still figuring out. They have to have a plan for it, though, just because it is the beginning of the series and they've re-released everything else. So they have to have a way of getting it here to the West. But right now, that's all I've got for you. That's my Trails ramble for the episode. And the news is it's doing better in the West than they expected, which, again, is a sign that the series is growing. And I hope it does come to Xbox, because I think, again, with Game Pass, you could have that Yakuza effect where it subtly becomes the home for the series, even if it's grown a lot on PlayStation. That's like where it started off. I feel like that association, thanks to Game Pass, could help Falcom out a lot. But it's about, they're a small team, man. They're still a small indie team in the scheme of things, so they got to make the port for it. They got to make the port good. And so with that, I mean, that's, if they do the whole series, man, that's 10 plus ports. That's not an easy task. So I feel like they're going to stick with what they have and just keep working with the PlayStation, Nintendo Switch audience, and just keep the budget tight and head in that direction.
Makes sense.
All right. I've bored you enough, Cog. Let's get into something else here. Stray has received an ESRB rating for Xbox Series consoles and Xbox One. So the cat game is on the way, it seems. Any thoughts, sir?
Yeah, nice pickup. Later goes to show you Sony's. Actually, this was a Game of the Year candidate, was it?
Indie Game of the Year, yeah.
Indie Game of the Year candidate, yeah. But it wasn't in the Game of the Year. I remember seeing Stray as a candidate in there. But anyway, look, get a chance for Xbox guys to get a chance to play it. I will say that it is, as much as some people will clown on it, and fine, it is interesting that, again, Sony had paid clearly for that exclusivity window, and now it is up, and now it's available. You see it now, Sifu is coming out, right? Yep. Stray is coming out. In defense of Sony, they have put their finger on the pulse of what they consider popping, what they think could be big and associated with their brand, and now Xbox get it later. The key is going to be, how is Xbox going to deal with this? Because this is something consistent. I know these are smaller games, but we're seeing it with other bigger games as well. And the showcase, which will be most likely after the time we recorded this, we're going to learn if that trend continues with bigger games. That, to me, is what I get out of this.
Yeah, and Stray was day one on PS Plus, I believe. So I don't see a Game Pass deal coming. Otherwise, they just straight up gave this game away on two different deals. So I wouldn't hold your breath. If it does, though, that's great. Maybe they made more money off the game. If it's a Game of the Year candidate, I'm sure maybe it did, but just a thought there.
No, I agree. I think it's going to be same as the Sifu situation, where it'll be on Xbox for purchase. You know what I'm saying? But it's not coming to Game Pass. I would be shocked if that happens.
Agreed. Last little bit of news here, and then we'll get into what games they're playing. Amazon's new world team, known as Orange County Studio, is teaming up with the Embracer Group to deliver a Lord of the Rings MMO. This is the second time they've tried this, so it's not new news, but just wanted to provide an update on that. Any thoughts, sir?
Yeah, not too much. Gotta see. It's one of those things you gotta see how it look before I go too crazy.
Yeah, same here. All right, time to get into what games we're playing, Cog. Both got some similar ones on the list, but maybe let's wipe off what we where we differentiate. So go ahead and begin. Yeah.
So obviously you already know Team Midnight Suns here. The final bit of DLC, alleged final bit of DLC dropped, the Storm DLC, and man, so well done, so well done. The character is awesome. The abilities that she has. What I like how they leaned into. If you're a fan of Storm, I'll be honest, I'm not really like an X-Men person, so to speak. I don't hate them, but I'm not like a fanboy of the X-Men, right? I know people who are like hardcore X-Men. So, but a Storm I've like, Wolverine I've like, kind of thing. So
X-23 what I like, is my favorite.
Who's your favorite?
X-23. Love
X-23. Okay.
Such a good character.
No doubt. So yeah, like this is what I like, how they leaned into her abilities from the build up as a Storm. So she has cards that in her deck that play like, hey, she'll do this amount of damage or this ability, but next turn, if you keep this card in her hand, it then morphs into double the power of this extra added thing to it. So it leads into she's a rising Storm. yo, she is powerful. She's not just the traditional support character, because she's the, magician, the like Doctor Strange kind of thing. She has support, but she has powerful attacks that will literally control a battlefield. And one card I forgot that she has that is really about empowering others with this storm shield thing. I highly advise y'all to level that card up. That card it gives people damage resistance and counter. The key with this DLC is usually these characters have about 2 or 3 missions and then you're done. This has a lead up, and what you'll notice is all the DLC characters, Morbius, Venom, Deadpool, and now her, they've been fighting someone I'm not going to spoil, who is a very prominent character. And this, what happens, I end it, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And they're like, no. Now there's one more additional story, and it involved all the DLC characters minus the hunter. And it is fire. It is very challenging. So this is one of those things that you better have your top decks for each character, your best builds, your best, bro. My decks are like, and I was on the edge of my seat, like, yo, I might not be able to do this. Wow. Like and the way they do this end was really well done. Kudos to the way they handled this, because it was even cinematic cutscenes for everything. And I'm just like, yo, well done, Midnight Suns, Chef's Kiss, and hopefully we get a season 2. So that's that.
Yes, sir.
And then
crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Please. And then obviously the other thing I've been playing is, your boy got that Tekken 8 harangue reveal. Man, I lost it. This is my favorite character. I love the martial arts. Taekwondo is one of, outside of like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as far as an art, Cog has always been a fan of the kickers, the Taekwondo.
Guess what martial art I did for a couple of years? Yes.
See, that's why we
I was getting my Hwarang on.
Oh, you was getting, bro. Something about Taekwondo. Then I hurt my back. Then I took an arrow in the knee. Bro, I love Taekwondo. Like, I took it for a little bit, that and a little bit of Muay Thai, and a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at one point. And this is a young, spry Cog. Cog's moving around.
Right.
But, bro, it's a beautiful art. It is just to see kicks done with precision, and there's something about the extension, and Harangue represented that. It was the reason why I love Tekken. It is a true representation of the martial arts. They had mocap from one of the, I believe one of the Korean Taekwondo championships who actually did the mocap for Harangue originally. What's beautiful about Tekken 8's Harangue reveal is they have remocapped everything. So even older existing moves look tremendous. The thing about the character, he's always been the brat-ish type character to Jin, who is the main, and he's always the rival. What I like what they've done is they changed, he's more serious. It's a more kung fu traditionalist sensibility. You could tell he's been through something, and you could tell he's really mastered his craft through his teacher. And it's kind of like Jin's like, yeah, come at me what you got. They got like special cinematics, like how Mortal Kombat does. Nice. They're blending into that. And what I like is their Jin interactions, like, come at me, whatever you got. Old Harangue, like, yeah, come on, guy. That kind. He's like, It was one of these, like it was like that anime boss type. Like, bro, he looks like a demon, and they had some really cool sensibilities for my anime guys, my old school anime guys, who he had the bike, he had the Akira slide. I was like, yo, they touched every heartstring for me. I love the new character. My Unreal Engine 5 looks amazing.
Yeah.
So Cog had to go dust off that Tekken 7 again. Cog had to go into the character customization. I literally mimicked as best as I can for Tekken 7, the Tekken 8 version. I got me the bootleg white gi with the black tile. I'm trying. It ain't the same, but I got Harangue Tekken 8 at home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, great value brand.
Yeah, so I've been on the Steam Deck, hard body, just practicing being sharp. And for Bayek mains, I hate to report for you, it looks like your man might not be. Harangue almost has all of his moves now included into his new set. And yeah, it's looking good. So
I was looking into that a bit because I saw people writing in the comments. I was like, who is that again? And then, I saw like, that was how I ran, man. Like, you got to condense those assets somewhere.
You got to condense them, bro. So yeah, I'm seeing Bayek mains on Twitter say, hey, I have to main Harangue now. So I'm seeing the reception. It was cool because it was a character for me that I didn't think he was as popular. But shout out to Harada, the team. They announced him in Korea, which is where the characters. So they were. Shout out to you for sending me that. All right, he was how I felt inside.
That guy was losing it. That guy was losing it.
All right. Oh, that was me when I was looking at all the moves go down. So salute to Tekken. I'm so hype. I'm so special. So then there's this one game. I think I'll start off first that we both been playing. I know this is defining Duke, but we got to talk about it, right? We got to talk about it. Shout out to the Switch game, man. Tears of the Kingdom. Wow. You know, I'm very early. I got a chance to start 2 days ago. Just kind of get a feel of it. This is. I know we give Halo credit for sandbox, but this is something different, y'all. Yeah. This is the ultimate sandbox. The abilities that Lake now has are completely transformative. But I want to give them credit because something I was kind of slandering them, and I need to kind of bend the knee on this. I know Donald Taco's listening, so he's gonna be happy to hear all this. But my main issue is just that Nintendo, we get it, save Zelda. No, now we have more of a narrative beyond just that, this ancient civilization, what's going on, what's happening. We're learning. And that's what I want from Nintendo. Like, bro, get into the modern era. Stop with just, we got to save the princess and that's it. Yeah. No, like it's more to it. There's a depth. And I love that about this. So you probably got way more hours than me, so I'm going to defer to you on that. But my initial impressions were, it's something about Zelda in the sense of adventure. What's that over there? Right. What's going on over there, right? Then, you know, I'm a guy that I didn't mind the climbing. I didn't mind the weapon breaking. But these new abilities, and bro, I'm literally crafting things to get across the other side of stuff. I'm seeing the creations on Twitter. People are making like mechs. And it's insane what people are doing. Bro, listen, at first I was hating. I was like, these dudes are just capping. It can't be that. Nah, it's that. It's that. And I'm early, but I'm curious for people who have played it much longer. Again, I don't know how many hours you have.
I got a decent amount now, probably like 20. Yeah.
So I would defer to you, but that's pretty much what Cog has been playing recently.
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is a really special game, it feels like. It's almost overwhelmingly big. That's kind of like my main critique at this point in the game. There were just moments I feel paralyzed. I just go, I don't know which way to go, what to do. There's an above, there's a below, there's a middle ground, and Hyrule. I'm just like, bro, I was like, this is a seemingly endless game. It truly feels that way. I'm like, I'm still 20 hours. I'm still trying to update my map. As I'm updating my map, I'm like, oh, shrine. Oh, wait, what is that? Wait, what is that?
Squirrel.
It does like a 15-second roll without updating your map and giving you UI. It's a really well-crafted game in that regard because it activates that almost ADHD thing that open worlds do without being obsessively in your face. Like, it's very delicate with it because it just builds things to beckon your curiosity. What I love, I think, about the game is that it just has no rules. Like, they give you these tools, as you mentioned, right? You can fuse items together in the world. You can fuse weapons together. You can ascend through the floor into who knows where after you go up.
I've seen people ascending into things they shouldn't be ascending.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, there's a sexual
I'm not surprised.
People ascending into things they ain't got no business. Continue.
I ascended from a cave into a tower once by accident, so I'm keeping it G-rated over here. But yeah, with Tears of the Kingdom, man, they give you these tools and they just kind of say, there's no one way to do this. You don't have to follow the story. You don't have to do the shrine this way. You do it your way. And because it lets you break the rules so often, outside of the shrines, which are a little more defined, it's just truly a boundless video game, which you can't say about many. And the amount of weapon fusions in this game is staggering. Just the combinations on combinations on combinations you can make. Again, just insane level of depth here. And so I'm just taking it in a different approach. When I played Breath of the Wild, I think I played it the wrong way when I look at it in hindsight. Played a very traditional open world. So I settled in, get through the main story. Let me do all the side missions, right? Making my checklist. Put maybe 60 hours in. I was like, okay, done. Moved on. Didn't really miss it. Didn't think about it much. I'd see videos of people like launching themselves a Hyrule Castle. And they're like, look what I can do. And I'm like, that's not practical to me. Like, it's cool you can do that, but I never found use in that. The difference here with Tears of the Kingdom is I'm playing it, I think, more open, free-spirited. I'm not following the main story at all. I'm just wandering, doing whatever catches my attention. No real game plan at all. just kind of letting the world take me and do with it what it will. And it's been really fun playing it that way because I keep discovering things that are very surprising. The game has a good reward system where every time I think like, I wonder if there's something there. There is. And what you find is often surprising. It's low key, high key, really, a survival game. So just like you're picking up items all the time. Like, I found a luminous rock. Nice. Like all the way up here. But yeah, man, the scale and depth of it makes it inviting. And then the tool set, I think, is a lot more, I would say, user friendly, where you can get as complex or as simple as you want. Because the way I define the tool set for Breath of the Wild is you would make complex solutions to simple problems. Like I've seen people, you reroute the electricity from this area to this area. Me, flip a switch. Twitter, I'm going to lay down every fucking metal weapon I've got across the goddamn room. And then I'm going to use a shock arrow. And then look at that, guys. I'm like, cool. No one's going to do that, though. No one in their right mind is going to do that unless they got a lot of time to kill and they just want to show off the system of the game. And I'm not in the business of making tech demos. So I'm here to play the game. With Tears of the Kingdom, I have those moments in organic ways where it makes sense, where I'm not wasting time. And there's moments where I'm like, I could build a vehicle or I could just walk up this hill and I'll just take the extra time to build a vehicle. I'm like, I would have been up the hill by this point. There are moments where it peaks through a bit and I've overcomplicated, but that's where you're just indulging and having fun, right? But the reality is most times when you're using these tools, they're in ways that make sense and everyone's going to have different experiences and how they get to certain things. And, just that lack of formula, if you will, really gives it a sense of identity. And then, the narrative is better here. I don't want to say lost on it, but I've done a decent amount where I'm going around the map and I'm finding these tiers and they give you these disjointed cutscenes. I just, when they did that, I was like, why, Nintendo?
Oh, you didn't like it.
The presentation is so good. The story is much more interesting, but I've collected tier 1, tier 4, and tier 11. I'm like, what the fuck happened between all this, man? I don't get.
That's how they do.
I don't like that. But when you're going through the main quest lines and you're getting these cutscenes and stuff, and it's more cohesive, much better. The presentation, because this Monolith, the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 team, worked on the cutscenes, and you can tell by the camera work, hands and stuff. There's a real sense of this game is epic, and they capture it well in the cutscenes. So it's fantastic, man. It's fantastic, and I'm definitely going to spend more hours in this than Breath of the Wild, no doubt about it. It's just it's consistently hooking me in, and there's no such thing as a short session for me in this game because I'm always going from one thing to the next and
always one more thing.
Yeah, and just the way it distracts me, like I'll always have an end goal in mind, and that's the story, right? Is how I got to that end goal. So like, not spoiling, but just like one time I had a sky labyrinth. I was like, that's my goal, and the amount of caves and dungeons and things I had to ping pong through, and then finally make my way up there. Like that's the main story to me, and how I had to build this thing, and I was flying it along the sky. It starts blinking green because the battery's running out. I'm like, no way it's going to fade now, because I spent 5 hours going through content and doing all this stuff, and I'm finally riding my way there, and I'm just like, holy shit, it's about to disappear. And I get on my paraglider because it does disappear. I'm like, no, I see nothing, man, because it's snowing. So I don't see anything. I'm just floating towards it like, oh, man, come on. And all of a sudden, I stick to something. I was like, holy shit, God's looking out for me, man. So I was like, the Lord's got my back today. I started climbing up this wall. Bro, I'm pulling out fans. I'm floating up to the next platform. I'm ascending. And I make it to this sky labyrinth. And like that, again, that's the main story to me. Like the presentation, the narrative seems better, seems more darker, especially the intro section, very creepy.
Yes, very creepy.
I like the sense of isolation in this game. Yes. Like they got a lot better with that. But the real story to me is how you get to places and that session to session storyline almost. Yes. And absolutely. So that's what defines the game, makes it continuously enjoyable when you're not getting fed cutscenes. And I really respect it, man. It's an impressive outing, and for a first $70 outing, this is what you should expect.
Oh, so you're implying that great games great you gravitate towards the service or a platform?
Yeah, believe it or not. Wow. But when you start charging $70, if you deliver something like this, people are going to not complain at all, as it sells 10+ million copies in 3 days. In case you forgot, I said that earlier.
I would agree. Yeah, salute on that one. Oh, real quick question. Follow up. Do you think, based on what you played, said though this is an Xbox podcast, so I have to ask this. Do we feel anything can stand a chance to potentially dethrone this, i.e., Jedi Survivor, i.e., Starfield? Or is it in the bag?
I feel like the industry has made up their mind. Like, just because of those reviews, like the expectation was these reviews are going to be in like the almost 100 Metacritic area. They are. And I mean, it's not like it didn't earn it, but also like, I just want Starfield to be amazing, man. Like, I really do. And I know you're not saying that, but like, I just want it to be amazing. I saw Pure Xbox I made a video kind of not talking about the article, but more so the mindset. I made a video talking about this article they made where they said like the Zelda reviews have put pressure on Starfield to perform. And like, no, it hasn't. Like, I don't truly think it has. Like, I respect the mindset. I get where they're coming from. And I know a lot of people are going to think the same thing. But to me, I'm like, no, like the pressure shouldn't be on Starfield in the way that we're thinking about it. Like the pressure's on Starfield to mark a turning point for the brand. But for Xbox to get to the point we want it to be at, the pressure is on all first party. It's got to be Hellblade, Avowed, Starfield. Absolutely. Like it takes an army. You know, the reality is if Breath of the Wild, or sorry, Tears of the Kingdom were to have under-delivered, it would have been disappointing, but we wouldn't have been spelling doom and gloom for Nintendo. It's just been like, wow, how did this happen? With Xbox, it's a much different story because Nintendo's built their brand, right? They said like, well, you got Mario, you got Metroid, you got all these other great IP. With Xbox, they're getting to that point. So it is a little more crucial to nail Starfield, but I don't think Zelda performing well and the Game of the Year conversation should have any implications on Starfield's success. I think they're separate in that department, and I think Xbox needs to focus on building an army, not just one super soldier, effectively.
Well said. Couldn't have said it better.
All right, warm-up questions. Anything you want to add for Tears of the Kingdom before we move on?
No, you nailed it, man.
Cool.
I'm still rocking and rolling.
Cool. Cody C writes in, what's up, Corvo Cog and Outsider Matty? What is up with the recent additions to Game Pass seemingly being, quote, sent out to die, end quote? Recent games like Ravenlok and The Last Case of Benedict Fox have both released as console-exclusive day ones, but with very little marketing or fanfare, despite being highlighted prominently in previous showcases. Very few outlets have even reviewed Benedict Fox, and the ones that did put the reviews out days after the game came out. I know these are indie games, but if the major drive at Xbox is Game Pass, why aren't they putting more marketing efforts into highlighting their exclusives when they release? So, Cog, what do you make of... Do you think indie games are being sent out to die right now? Because they are exclusive. Benedict Fox is console exclusive. Ravenlok is console exclusive. I will say on a personal level, whenever I got a review code for both these games, they were sent by Xbox. So there is some type of involvement there. They are dispatching these codes. But I'm wondering for you, do you feel they're being sent out to die?
I don't think they're being sent out to die. I just feel that like internally, as much as I may like the premise of Benedict Fox and, you know, Ravenlok, we have to be honest too that both didn't hit the critical acclaim that we thought they were going to hit. So I think the quality of the titles also played a factor in this. Like, you know, if these were like, you know, Death's Door type energy, you know what I'm saying? And
wish they got the other one. Ascent.
Exactly. So there you go. So it's like they need the quality of the game has to hit as well. So I think it's as a combination of that. Because to your point, Xbox is behind the scenes trying to, you know, let people know about these games for promotion and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what it is. I just think it also comes down to that. Not saying they can't do a better job of promoting indies. Yes, of course they could do a better job, but I think they strategically try to attach themselves to the ones that they know are like, yo, this is it. And I've seen cases where they do that. So that's what this is. Because even myself, you know, now after I sunk more into Benedict Fox, I'm like, damn, they gotta fix this. This is a little annoying right here. They got a little input lag, some issues here. And I'm like, this took away from what could have been really special. There's another game that we're going to talk about later as far as Game Pass stuff that I felt, you know, with Somerville and stuff like that. I was like, they could have did it just, you know. So yeah, I just think those ones ended up being average to above average as opposed to, yo, these are great and we're going to get behind this kind of energy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, I think you're right on the money, especially with the quality mark there, because I think Xbox's view on indies is a little different. They definitely celebrate them a lot. They had the Idea at Xbox program. They put those showcases. But Phil's been on record multiple times of saying they kind of want their Rocket League. They want their Fall Guys, right?
Yes.
And I think part of their philosophy is that just happens, right? You make it a part of your program, but like it's not like leading into launch, Fall Guys was getting a ton of marketing or Rocket League was. It was just an idea that really people grabbed onto, right? And it blew up. So, when you look at something like High on Life, right? It did its own thing and really exploded over time. So I feel like there's part of that as the mantra. Like, we're not going to over market these indies. Like, you're going to get general like showcase presence. And that's it. And a lot of the importance comes from the fans. I think of Replaced. Like, Replaced feels like a very important Xbox indie, but Xbox really hasn't marketed it heavily. Like, just the Xbox community has attached themselves to it because it looks high quality. So there's also that. We put a lot of importance on these games beyond what I think internally they may. Yeah. And I get why. Ravenlok looks amazing. I'm still excited to play it. Benedict Fox, I was a little more cold on compared to you, but it still looked interesting. But again, that's kind of like where we put the importance out there more than an Xbox has. Not to defend them, but just it's perspective to have, I'd say.
Right. And I felt they've got more behind, again, when the quality is like Vampire Survivors, right? I felt they were outside a little bit more with that. But
might have been some internal bias on that one. Just,
yo, you still...
Dude, there were people who were looking at Phil's Xbox profile the day that Redfall interview dropped and everything. My man went to Vampire Survivors that day. He went home. He got his comfort game. So guess what, man? There's a little bias there. I ain't biting on that one. We will see if something gets that Vampire Survivors energy one day. God willing.
I mean, they all play a lot of Redfall now lately. That is interesting. We'll keep it moving.
Number 2 goes to Brett Lindstrom, and then we will get into our number 1 news item of the episode. Hey, boys, with Zelda receiving 10s from pretty much everyone, it's time, to bring the age-old question back into the light. In 2023, is it okay to launch an ambitious open-world AAA first-party game that runs at 30 frames per second? The answer sure seems to be yes, according to the astronomical critical reception of Tears of the Kingdom. If this is the case, surely Starfield should receive the same sort of pass that Zelda has received if it is locked at 30 FPS, no? Anyway, I'm excited to finally play both Zelda and Starfield and would love to hear your thoughts from this angle. The NHL draft lottery is rigged, but in my favor kind of day. Go Hawks. Yes, at least you're self-aware, Brett, bro. There are people out there trying to defend it, but I have never seen a more egregious rig in my life. Like, I've seen comments of like, yo, the refs are against us, but this to me like changed some of my perspective on the sport. I was like, y'all made it really obvious that we were hooking up the Blackhawks. Really and I'm an Oilers fan. We got hooked up big time, right? We got McDavid, we got Nugent Hopkins, we got Draisaitl. Like, I'm not oblivious, but like y'all egregiously got hooked up there. But hey, I'm sorry. This is a gaming podcast. Cog, Brett Lindstrom is writing in about 30 frames, ambitious open world game. Will Starfield get the same pass as Zelda? Let's hear your thoughts, sir.
Oh, this is a fun one. Me and King were going at it on this one. Oh, yeah, he's been going hard on Zelda. He's been saying it's a lot of fraudulent behavior. That people make a lot of excuses for this thing. That it looks like he's using terminology. When someone has a baby and their baby's not necessarily cute. Oh, it's cute. It's adorable. He's like, no, that's just a baby. And you just got. So he going in. Look. Here's the thing, and things we gotta be relative to what's going on. In fairness, this is 2017 hardware from Nintendo Switch. I am not excusing performance issues, but I am talking relative to when it was released and the device, right? So for 2017, it's an impressive 30 frames per second that's stable for the most part. The problem in the Xbox case, when we're talking like the Redfall situation, is that we know this console was marketed. First of all, it's a more recent console, and it was marketed as 60 frames per second would be the standard. It's, eats monsters for breakfast. We were told about flops. So when things don't hit that, it's going to be received, but it's going to be not received well. But ultimately, it comes down to this, and this goes back to the Starfield thing. I firmly believe, as much as we, the hardcore, want the 60 and deserve the 60 because it is a better experience, if the game is good, they must have internal data that people are going to play and don't care regardless. So it's just like, if Starfield is great, yeah, they're going to get a little smoke, for 30 frames. But if it's great, people are really going to play it, and that's not going to be, part of the conversation. So is it fair? No. You know what I'm saying? Is it one of those things that if you deliver a quality game that people are going to make more of a pass? Yes. That's just the way it is. Life ain't fair. It's just how it is. It's the same thing with, Nintendo, Sony, and the whole Xbox first party things. Is it fair the way Xbox is criticized, for their shortcomings? No. But they haven't shown a consistent track record to make these experiences like a Last of Us and a Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. So when you make those type of experiences, you're going to get passes on performance rate and things, frame rate and performance. That's just how the game go. It's like, it's the age-old, boxing, MMA, the champ is going to get those allowances. He's the champ. Right? Yeah. That's just how you the contender. You're not, if it go to decision, they not going to necessarily look at you and make it go your way. You got to fight extra harder to get, you got to knock the champ out, right? When you knock the champ out, you make it clear, this is a great game. This is amazing. Then you're going to get the kudos you deserve. So if Starfield just do what they got to do, it will be fine. But yes, I know what's going on. I know there's a civil war. People are like, yo, I will give the Xbox community this, though. I'll give y'all a bone today because we're going to play. There was a big contingent of people, not everyone, that was saying, if something's 30, I am not playing. There was. I'm just saying. So those people who had to answer the music when said games that they interested, they're going to be held to the fire if they're going to play on the console or they're going to go to the PC as they claim. That's what we're going to learn. So I just thought that part was funny. So
I'm gonna have to lightly push back on one app.
Ooh, let's go! Let's go!
I'll have to lightly push back.
I like that.
I think a lot of people are asking reviewers to be intentionally disingenuous and ignore the fact that the Switch is as old as it is and it's running a game like Tears of the Kingdom, which is a 16 gigabyte game, by the way, impressive on its own right, and trying to size it up against Starfield and act like these two are the same. It's not. Like, we just got to accept that. It's not. It's not even a preference. It's not even a bias, but just I feel like reviewers got to walk into a 30 frames experience on the Switch on this huge ass game. We're lucky this game exists on the platform, honestly. When you look at the specs for the Switch, it's a technical marvel that this game exists. If anything, the 30 frames and its stability of such is kind of impressive, to be frank. And the Switch has created a standard. We don't see 60 frame titles often on it. So there's expectations that people are asking reviewers to ignore. And again, I just kind of find it a little disingenuous. Starfield, I've also got on record as saying this. Like I said, I'm expecting 30 frames. But if you watch a little Mr. Matty content, I also said I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as people think it will be with this one. I think there will definitely be the 50-50 split of like, oh, no, here we go again. And I get it. I'm not defending it. But when you look at Redfall announcing 30 frames and 2020 hindsight, sure, but going into the game, there was that, what are you doing that is barring your frame rate? Because it was more invisible, right? I imagine the untethered multiplayer was a huge technical hurdle for them and probably hampered the frame rate severely. Starfield, on the surface, you can just look at the game and say, this is an ambitious video game. Does that mean it's going to be good or bad? We have no idea yet. But you can look at the amount of features and what they're pouring into the game. And they're claiming that we haven't seen all of it yet, too. So there's actually a potential of more there. But the game is ambitious. So I do think they actually may get the same benefit of the doubt, because despite all the flops and whatnot we've heard about, like little teraflops, by the way, not Redfall flop.
Meat on the table.
Yeah.
Flops.
That type of flop, too. I think people are going to be more willing if we have a game, are willing to understand, you say, if we have a game that actually pushes the boundaries. Because as far as I'm concerned, Elden Ring, Tears of the Kingdom, that's really it to me. That's pushed that boundary forward. And I think Starfield, I've said it before, I'm sticking to it. I think it's next in line to be that. And we're lucky in the same year to get two of those types of games. That's incredible if it actually does it. But I think Starfield's the next kind of boundary pusher. And I'm really excited to see what they do. And honestly, maybe even Spider-Man 2. We'll talk about the PlayStation Showcase in a little bit, because we're hearing like there's like people suggesting maybe there's co-op because of 2 Spider-Man. Maybe you're going to be web swinging around the open world and you're going to see another Spider-Man fighting, and you can like switch to them. Like, there's a lot of potential there. So that's another way they can move things forward. So I think ambition buys you a little bit more leeway. At least that's how I operate, and I see a lot of people operating. And if Starfield's an ambitious game and it delivers a good experience, I think it will get the okay on the 30 frames. And especially, again, this is where I think people are intentionally disingenuous. Like, Bethesda Game Studios homes are on PC. As far like, I'm not going to say Bethesda doesn't care about consoles, but their past showcases have shown as much. And I just think for them, if it runs at 60 on PC and the port is good and they can help modding, which supports their games for the next 10 years, that's all they care about. And I don't blame them. But I might be getting a little off track here. I don't think Tears of the Kingdom's getting the thumbs up means that Starfield isn't, personally. But that's just how I'm looking at it.
One quick question for you. Not really a rebuttal, it's more of a question. What do you say? I well said about it's not apples to apples, you know what I'm saying, as far as the hardware and what's going on and the creativity and the ambition of the game. I completely agree with you there. What do you say, though, for those who say that they get that, but there were still, like even though it's a solid 30, that there were some performance issues and that no one's even acknowledging that in the review. So they feel like, how can it be perfect 10s? And they like what the energy I'm seeing from when I hear like ILP communities, other communities, not, and again, I shouldn't say that's wrong, from some people, forget communities, is that Nintendo never gets nicked for any performance issues. And for example, what was that Pokemon game that ran crazy bad? Oh God, I heard that was wild.
That was really fucking bad.
And I don't know how the reviews, but I heard the reviews are good. And people were like, yo, no one is saying that. And then the word on the street is people don't want to anger Nintendo so that they will be excluded from said coverage. Now, wait, let's say Matty did that part.
Well, that tells you why Retro Rebound's successful, by the way, because I'm not connected to Nintendo at all, but our Nintendo content does stupid well. And I blasted Scarlet and Violet. Like that game on a design level, on an open world level, like it's actually the Pokemon game we have wanted for a long, long while. So the fact that it was like technically in shambles was insane to see. I was like, wow, like we're getting to that point. But here's the thing. The reason I think Nintendo at times gets the pass is because you get something like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which comes out in the proximity of Scarlet and Violet and humiliates it, by the way, which is massive in scale, which is impressive in performance. And then you get something like Tears of the Kingdom afterwards, and you just realize, as I've always said, there are levels to this. And, Game Freak keeps having to be biting off more and more than they can chew because they're a small team. It's on Nintendo to reinvest in Pokemon. That's a problem in it to itself. But yeah, there's no denying Nintendo gets the benefit of the doubt in the games industry. And I completely agree with that. I've always said that people got to stop Nintendo and grow up a little bit because they ain't the perfect company from our childhood. It's just, it's obvious is the problem, because I don't watch other reviews because I feel like it just contaminates my own. But I said, I don't, hearing you say, it just as a trust fall here, I'll run with it, that like people aren't talking about the performance issues in Tears of the Kingdom. Like it runs at a mostly stable 30, but there are points where you like use the Ultra Hand and pick up an object and suddenly it's a slideshow. It's a Redfall cutscene. And I'm like, God damn, bro. Like, and it's bad. But because again, ambition is there and it does so much, it to me overrides it, but it should not be unaddressed because it is in your face at times. But the problem really, I think, is beyond Breath of the Wild, or I keep calling it Breath of the Wild. Oh my God, Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
The problem is beyond the new Zelda game. And I think it goes above to Nintendo. And yeah, man, like, look, I've tried to get review codes from them. They're a weird, dodgy bunch. And they are very traditionalist because they don't got to play by any other rule set. As long as the major outlets give them their scores, they're not playing the content creator game. They don't embrace that at all. They told me I get a code day of, and thank God I didn't wait for it. I made a trip to Belgium to get it early for my video because I still didn't get shit. And I'm not entitled to it, but I'm just like, they're just evasive. Once they get what they want, they're out. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that's always how they've been. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these outlets, I'll be real, like kowtow to Nintendo because they'll fucking ice you in a minute.
Oh yeah, they don't play.
So
and
yeah, that's to me.
YouTube policies are crazy too.
Yeah, like I'm sure if IGN like came out, I'm using IGN hypothetically. I don't know what their reviews, but I'm sure if they came out with like a super scathing Scarlet Violet review, like Nintendo would feel some type of way about it. I don't know if they would cut IGN off. IGN, I think, is a little too big to cut off, but you get my point that I think some outlets like Nintendo Life, if they see that, you're like, no, more like Nintendo death now. I mean, there's no life now. We're taking away your access. So
it's an interesting game. I'm glad you said it. That's all I wanted to ask.
No, I appreciate you asking. I appreciate you letting me ramble. All right. Cog, we got a big story here. Number one, after weeks of being beat up on, Xbox finally has a much needed win. The EU Commission has approved the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, and it now feels like Xbox may have a leg to stand on as to go to battle with the FTC and the CMA. So, a warning. Matty's going to talk for a while. I got a lot of reading to do. I went through the whole transcript. I went through all the comments afterwards. But Cog, get ready. I'm going to dish it to you afterwards because I'm going to need a drink of water once I'm done.
Definitely. Yeah,
actually, let me get a sip in now. Oh.
Get it now. Get it now.
All right.
Major bars inbound.
Yes, sir. Here we go. This is what the EU Commission writes. To address the competition concerns identified by the Commission in the market for the distribution of PC and console games via cloud gaming streaming services, Microsoft offered the following comprehensive licensing commitments with a 10-year duration. A free license to consumers in the EEA that would allow them to stream via any cloud gaming services of their choice. All current and future Activision Blizzard PC and console games for which they have a license, and a corresponding free license to cloud game streaming service providers to allow EEA-based gamers to stream any Activision Blizzard's PC and console games. Today, Activision Blizzard does not license its games to cloud game streaming services, nor does it stream the games itself. These licenses will ensure that gamers that have purchased one or more Activision games on a PC or console store, or that have subscribed to a multi-game subscription service that includes Activision games, namely Game Pass, have the right to stream those games with any cloud gaming streaming service of their choice and play them on any device using any operating system. The remedies also ensure that Activision's games available for streaming will have the same quality and content as games available for traditional download. These commitments fully address the competition concerns identified by the Commission and represent a significant improvement for cloud game streaming compared to the current situation. They will empower millions of EEA consumers to stream Activision's games using any cloud gaming services operating in the EEA, provided they are purchased in an online store or included in an active multi-game subscription in the EEA, again, namely Game Pass. In addition, the availability of Activision's popular games for streaming via all cloud gaming streaming services will boost the development of this dynamic technology in the EEA. Ultimately, the commitments will unlock significant benefits for competition and consumers by bringing Activision's games to new platforms, including smaller EU players, and to more devices than before. The Commission carefully investigated the effectiveness of the remedies, collecting views from a large number of market participants and stakeholders. In particular, cloud game streaming service providers gave positive feedback and showed interest in the licenses. Some of these providers have already entered a bilateral agreement with Microsoft based on the proposed licenses to stream Activision games once the transaction is complete, which is the 10-year deals that we've been covering for the last number of months. Taking into consideration the feedback of the market, the Commission concluded that the proposed acquisition, as modified by the commitments, would no longer raise competition concerns and ultimately unlock significant benefits for competition and consumers. The Commission's decision is conditional upon full compliance with the commitments. Under supervision of the Commission, an independent trustee will be in charge of monitoring their implementation. So that is what the EU Commission had to say. Suffice to say, the CMA wasn't very pleased with the decision and sounded off on their official Twitter account. Here is the 5-tweet thread. Quote, the UK, US, and European competition authorities are unanimous that this merger would harm competition in cloud gaming. The CMA concluded that cloud gaming needs to continue as a free, competitive market to drive innovation and choice in a rapidly evolving sector. Microsoft's proposals accepted by the European Commission today would allow Microsoft to set the terms and conditions for this market for the next 10 years. They would replace a free, open, and competitive market with one subject to ongoing regulation of the games Microsoft sells, the platform to which it sells them, and the conditions of sale. This is one of the reasons the CMA's independent panel group rejected Microsoft's proposals and prevented the deal. While we recognize and respect the European Commission is entitled to take a different view, the CMA stands by its decision, end quote. The EU and CMA can agree on one thing, however. Activision games going exclusive, namely Call of Duty, would not hurt PlayStation. This is what the EU Commission had to say. Quote, even if Microsoft decided to withdraw Activision games from PlayStation, this would not significantly harm competition in console markets. Even if Call of Duty is largely played on console, it is less popular in the EEA than other regions in the world and is less popular in the EEA within its genre compared to other markets. Therefore, even without being able to offer this specific game, Sony could leverage its size, extensive games catalog, and market position to fend off any attempt to weaken its competitive position, end quote. Here's the spicy part. Satya Nadella spoke with CNBC and seems to be toying with an idea proposed by the Dukes a mere few weeks ago that did get them laughed out of the room or the comment section. A reporter inquired the following, quote, could you ever see an age where you sell the product in the US if it was approved, sell the product in Europe, but not sell it in the UK if they did not approve it, end quote. Satya says, let's wait for it all to play out, followed by a slight, wry smile and a brief cackle from the reporter. Jake Williams writes in, hey, DD, with the EU approving the Microsoft merger with Activision Blizzard, what do you think the chances are that the FTC will approve the deal now? Arguably more important, if everyone else supports the agreement except the CMA, will Microsoft go forward with the merger and how will they operate in the UK? Thanks, and have a forgot to charge my headphones before working out kind of day. The absolute worst, Jake.
Oh, those
I've been there. You got to listen to the gym stereo set at the top, and it's just like not the same. Not the same. You're lifting a little less that day for sure.
Oh yeah, you're not hitting your major target.
Yeah, no doubt. Cog, a lot here, man. You've been standing on your square, and here we go. Xbox has a leg to stand on. Mm-hmm. What I find interesting. And not to pick your initial talking point. Of course, you start where you want.
No, please.
But what I find interesting, and I recommend people look up the interview with CNBC, because if this is where visual context is key, hearing, let's wait for it all to play out, doesn't sound like anything. But this man's smile, I'm not saying it's happening, because it might not. There's a chance it doesn't. But this man's smile said to me, this is an option, and they're keeping it open. I don't think they'll do it. I think at the end of the day, they're going to try to corner the CMA, but make no mistake, this is something they're toying with. But Cog, your thoughts on the EU approval, why they approved the deal. Their concerns were in cloud gaming, much like the CMA, but they found the remedies worthwhile. Mm-hmm. Of course, what the CMA had to say, and then Satya's response to it all saying, let's wait to see it all play out. Yeah. Did this surprise and delight, my friend?
It surprised and delighted. I stood on my square with this. I again, at this point, I just want to be clear. Like, this COG has thrown out logic and reason at this point, because what COG has realized through this whole process is this is way more political than COG anticipated, right? So I actually switched gears to political COG, and I said, look, based on what I know about the EU, I can't see a scenario where they're going to agree with them, just based solely on that. And forget the logic. Forget, Call of Duty ain't going to harm nothing. Forget cloud is a nascent market. I literally went solely on that. And, to me, what was interesting, though, was, if we start from the top, the EU's response. It was closer. Then people if Microsoft didn't capitulate to these specific remedies as far as cloud is concerned, this wouldn't have gone through. I forgot the lady. She's very eloquent when they interviewed her right after the EU approved. Mm-hmm. And she was very poignant about that. So I thought that part was interesting. I did anticipate this to happen. What I did see, which was very interesting, was the CMA's immediate response, immediate clap back. And then I don't want to get, because I always say it wrong. Hyperbolic, whatever. Because shout out to the LSM chat, they was killing us.
Oh no, really?
No, they was.
Welcome to the club. Yeah, hyperbolic. I'll save you.
Whatever. I thought it was interesting how quickly they responded. They made a public statement about, how, almost this is the wrong decision. That struck me very strange, and I don't know if to take it defensively. I don't know if I just didn't see that coming. So it's like you're trying to, dig your foot in the sand and stand your ground. And our decision was the right decision, but clearly no one else feels that way. And the reason why COG's still standing on his square with this deal is going to go through is that the EU was a tremendous win for Microsoft. If the EU does not vote in their direction, to battle all three is just problematic, in my opinion. Like, legally, you really now are just going scorched earth, F it all, but now you got the EU. Then, again, take the CMA out of this. The FTC, their argument on a simplistic level basically says Call of Duty. The CMA and the FTC really don't agree on the philosophies of why they're blocking. So again, we're playing politics. They don't agree. So literally, the CMA's argument hurts the FTC because CMA literally doesn't say Call of Duty is going to harm competition, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the FTC, if you're asking COG from a political standpoint, does lose the battle. So the question now becomes, how long does this play out? The question now becomes where we are now with Satya and the interview. Very interesting. Like you said, the visual cues to me said a lot. Of course, he's going to play it political and not want to anger the CMA any further.
Yeah.
But I got the sense that we could potentially go on without you if you play in these games. How that works out.
I happen to go over a certain set of numbers and compared to previous generations, they may be lagging behind. I say facetiously, but just, to add it in there.
Now, granted, I don't know the ramifications of that. I am not, in that business. So I'm not, I defer to the financial experts. I defer to the legal experts if it's realistic that they could do that or not. What I feel, and this is my last guess on this whole thing, is because I'm playing political COG. Now, I'm out. Forget gaming, forget tech, forget rules, political COG. What I feel is the CMA wants to dig their stand and say, hey, we stop big tech from coming in here and doing this. If they could get some specific concessions to go along with this appeal, maybe there is a chance that it gets resolved. Maybe. It's a long shot. I'm not saying it's not. I saw this appeal process. I saw some of the documentation about what's the process to go through it. It is very slim. I'm not going to sit there and say it's not. But the key then becomes, with Microsoft now with this glimmer of hope and this, so you say there's a shot, kind of meme. Now I think this kind of fortifies this to continue. I don't know how long it's going to continue. It could be another year of this, another 2 years of this, Matty, but we ain't going to be able to get this out of a title and a thumbnail. But
I'm running out of ideas now.
Yeah, bro, this is continuing. This was the boost Microsoft severely needed. The key is, does the CMA break, capitulate, or does this appeal long shot happen, right? And that, I don't know. All I do know is I saw the Activision lawyers. I saw who Microsoft now has on the UK. They are geared up. From I looked at some of the resumes of these people. Yeah. Oh my God, these people have done a lot of things. So they're ready for war. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, Satya's comments, or lack of comment and smile, to me spoke volumes to me that, oh yeah, they're going all the way with this fight. And this is critical for Microsoft. They value this. Look, last point. We got to be real about this part. I think more than ever, I know we talk about great games. Yes. But now that I look at it, the way this generation now is going, this ABK deal is critical for Microsoft. And I'm starting to the point where it's like, not only do you need this shot in the arm of Call of Duty to fix the Game Pass subscriber numbers. They're not really talking about that as much, right? You need this influx to come right in. It's on the platform. That's going to be big for the Game Pass and the console section. Then you got the Blizzard section, PC, BlizzNet, BattleNet, and all of that. You see in Diablo, and remember, PC Game Pass is growing. That helps. Boom. Then you got the King aspect, right? Which is this mobile market with money. You just gonna be making hand over fist. This, I think, is critical if Microsoft is going to make a dent in this race. I just think it really is now. As much as I don't care about Call of Duty and I don't really care, I understand the business sense here. This is, they're going to fight tooth and nail. And I'm not making excuses, but you can't tell me, Matty, that if Phil Spencer is also part of flying out to the UK, they're showing them how game consoles work. And, you can't tell me that this has not partly taken their eye off the ball on the home front on some level. There's been so much investment. Yeah. And think about this. Think how long this has dragged on. In their mind, this deal was going to go through, right? They got blindsided by these blocks. So now they have to dig in more. I do feel as a result of this has taken their eye off the ball on a lot of things that we're complaining about. Pipeline structure, Redfall situation. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying
it's definitely fair to suggest when they're making those types of trips. Like he's not going to Texas to see Redfall. He's going to Brussels to show off something else for Xbox.
He's in the UK all the time, interviewing with these, talking about the deal. Like this cannot have been. If you looked at their planner for 2023. I don't think they envisioned that. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're going to see how this is. I just wanted to state. I'm starting to really see the importance of this deal for Microsoft. And I'm going to be honest now. I think it's getting to the point. I think it's critical if they need this deal to go through for them to turn things around. I'm at that point now because I truly believe if it does go through in any way, if they get CMA on board or not, and they figure out a way that they could just do it and just say, okay, you know what, UK, you just ain't getting the cloud portion and you get Game Pass, but you don't get the cloud portion of it because of your regulatory body. And they find some medium, bro. You insert all this stuff into this ecosystem this year. This is tremendous for them. So we try to see the saga. The saga continues. Unfortunately for our thumbnails and our headlines.
Yeah. Yeah, but don't worry. In the coming weeks, we got the PlayStation showcase. We got Protection show. We got our own showcase, whatever comes after that. So we'll be stacked with non-Activision, unless the deal gets approved.
Unless the deal gets approved. Then we got to,
we got to pull up. But yeah, man, really well said. Yeah, first off, I'm going to ask the whole guys to take a seat before y'all pop off in the comments and tell us again how the conversation was disappointing because we said what you didn't want to hear. I'm going to ask the whole guys to just lower your guard a little bit. Allow new and different thoughts to intrude your minds, and then go watch the legal analysis by Hogue. That'll undoubtedly come because you ain't getting
Shout
it
out to Hogue.
So, from a gaming standpoint, what I look at is you got my brain going a little bit, and I talked about this a bit in the video, but like it sets up the talking point that I was considering, which is it is vital when you look at it. It is. There's no doubt that. I think it's taken away in some regard to their first party lineup. You put it perfectly, eye off the ball. But it's vital because of something I've been saying for a while is we've been waiting for this first party set of acquisitions from 2018, 2019 to come out with stuff. And just by the nature of delays and how this timeline has lined up, there's a possibility, a real genuine possibility when you look at Compulsion, Obsidian, when you look at Ninja Theory, when you even look at some of the announced Xbox partnership titles like Contraband, there's a realistic possibility that with their quarterly releases, this is about to get shotgun blast out. It's 5 years of waiting all in a flash. What's next, right? Obviously, they'll have plans. There's indies, there's Game Pass. That's kind of the beauty of where Xbox is at. Like there will be things, but that buildup will be over. And it'll be nice to enjoy games, but you got to wonder if they want a AAA quarterly release. When you ask what's next, man, I mean, they got to have that answer. And there's no denying that beyond what you said, which is totally true about PC being their main place of growth right now, there's no denying that for Game Pass, Activision answers all of the questions they have for their brand. So it's no wonder they're fighting tooth and nail. I mean, they're putting a ton of money on the table for it. They're paying a premium on them. Everything, man. Like this is vital. Does it mean the end of Xbox if they don't get it through? No. But in the terms of where they want to be, how they want to accelerate their plans, I mean, it really is. Do I trust them as much after Redfall? Kind of a TBD. I feel some type of way for sure about the pipeline, that it happened was inexcusable. I think Starfield will be trial too because they were more involved with that. And if we get a kind of taste of when they're not involved and when they're involved, it's a little more easier to even it out. But no doubt there are concerns about it. But this is vital. So that's like the gamer take on it. I found it interesting to see that they all align that the cloud gaming stuff was problematic, and that the EU has seen that the remedies will do the trick for them. And I've said on multiple episodes and videos, like, I know it's vital for Xbox, but I'm not a corporate cheerleader where, like, if it goes through or doesn't, I'm not gonna be upset. That's how I've said. I understand the importance of it. Will it be exciting if it happens? Yes. Will I be playing those games if they're there in Game Pass? Yes. You can try to call me a hypocrite all day, but to me, I can't sit here and act like I'm going to be bummed out if this is something that doesn't go through. But I say all of that because, I think this deal was born out of competition, and to see Xbox oblige in the way they have, because when I say that, I mean cloud gaming, Game Pass, these kind of became the main propellants for Xbox after the Xbox One and what happened with it, where, again, I understand where the CMA was coming from with their cloud gaming concerns, but because it was born out of competition, I go back to that square one. I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. And now that they have the opportunity to have a place in a market, you're stopping them from that. So where now the EU has come in and these remedies have made it a place where you don't really need to have Game Pass to necessarily access the library that they're going to have access to now. We've seen with NVIDIA, maybe with even a Switch 2, we're going to see that library come aboard in cloud capacity. And that's an exciting future that I think makes gaming better. So that's why I wanted to start off by tackling it from the gamer perspective, because I had more thoughts on that than the legality and the politics of it all. I agree. Seeing the CMA's immediate response, to me, how do I want to describe this? I'm feeling a cogism coming in, but I don't know how I want to pose it. But the idea is sort of that dude that it's got a lot of bravado, but underneath it all, he's kind of self-conscious and he's feeling some type of way about himself, where, like, they ain't even talking to you. And they come out of nowhere and they're like, yeah, here's why we stand by our decision, by the way. And they're like, shut the fuck up, you bunch of losers. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from them, right? Like, they kind of got that, like, we're fine with our decision. Again, that's where the politics of it screamed to me. I'm like, why are you all like, we're talking about them and their approval. Like, what? FTC, I didn't see anything from them right away. So why are you out there defending it? Is it perhaps you feel like you needed to defend it? If you were so confident in your decision, there's nothing to defend. And as Hogue and I spoke, you little Hogites out there, I talked to the man. So, he said, as long as they can withstand the politics of it, they don't got to do anything. So that's why I proposed the idea of, like, look, if Microsoft feels okay with bypassing the UK as a region, to put them in a corner where then they're going to suffer financially, because since Brexit, they've had, I think someone wrote in about it, 3 different leaders, or whatever you call your prime ministers. Here we are. Yeah. And Lynn's wrote in about this. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's jump in. Good transition.
Because it's kind of messy for them right now. So Lynn's writes, hey, Dukes, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the UK. As a citizen of this once fine kingdom, our government and regulatory bodies are in a complete mess since our exit from the European Union. Our latest Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, our third since Biden was elected, has outlined how he wants the UK to become the Silicon Valley of Europe. But that seems to have stumbled at the first hurdle, with the CMA clearly taking an anti-big tech stance. I say all of this to ask the question, with the EU approving the acquisition, and if Microsoft wins the FTC case, does Microsoft simply close the deal and leave the UK stranded? While the UK is arguably Xbox's second biggest market, it appears that at $2 million in sales, the consoles are not selling as much on these shores as in previous generations. If that is the case, I'll be, quote, relocating to New Zealand to enjoy Call of Duty on Game Pass. Having my country is falling apart and wants me to spend €70 on Call of Duty kind of day. Thank you for writing in, Ed Lins. And yeah, that's the thing now, right? The talking point is, like, will Xbox, people call us fools for it. And I'm not saying because big boy Dell came in and said it may be a possibility that we got to run with it. Right. But look, there's no denying they're toying with the idea. Whether you want to call the Dukes fools or not, they're toying with it. I don't know if they'll do it, but there's a possibility. I'm sure they'd like to take the cleanest route and maximize their potential in that region. They got studios in that region, for God's sake. So, like, sure. I think they don't want to do it, But if it can accelerate their game plan and put the CMA in a corner, if they want to be the Silicon Valley of the EU, might be something they got to bend on. But I think the goal here, Cog, you kind of touched on this. It'll be kind of where I pass it to you. I think they want to beat the FTC. I think that's the big obstacle because I think the FTC had obstructed it. You would talk about politics because they wanted to make a big stance against big tech. They've said it before constantly, right? We've seen them stop deals before in recent years. I think Meta was one of them that was the product of that, right? And so to me, this screams like this is just their prerogative. And I think as long as they get something out of it, it's a win for Lena Khan. It's a win for the FTC. And it looks like they're doing their job, which is honestly the job of a politician nowadays. You just got to look like you're doing shit at this point. Sorry if that's the light political take of Matty here, but that's kind of the feeling I'm getting nowadays. So, look, I think if you can corner the CMA, which obviously the big obstacle here is the FTC, I think they're going to. And, I mean, when I say I think they're going to corner the CMA. I don't know if they're going to leapfrog them and say, okay, we're launching everything. We'll see. That'll be huge. But no doubt, if they beat the FTC in court and they get the deal approved there, it is going to be another dramatic shift. But this is the leg they needed to stand on. I think if they were blocked in all three countries, kiss it goodbye, I think.
Yeah.
But now they got a leg to stand on, that glimmer of hope in their eyes that there's a chance, like Cog said.
Yep.
And I'm interested to see how they run with it from here. But no doubt they needed this. They needed this win.
Absolutely. And I think this, to me, it weakened CMA's stance because the EU specifically showed why the CMA's arguments did not make sense and the remedies that they felt was sufficient to pass the deal from a cloud perspective was outlined beautifully. Now, to me, the FTC, I'm going to be real, I think they fooled right now. I think they're fooled and they know it. I think that the reality of the matter is Microsoft, if they push forward, they will basically, it's almost like that. Yeah, I dare you, stop this. We're going to put it out and take us to court, right? And we'll see what happens when we deal with you. But we're putting this out regardless. So I think they're strong with the FTC as a result of this single move with the EU. But again, the CMA,
think they had even strike before this, to be honest.
Yes, they did. Yeah. But it just optically would look bad if all three regulatory major bodies blocked the deal in unison for whatever reason. Now it looks like, damn, nobody's. And let's be honest, even though it's been approved everywhere, these are the regions that matter. Let's just be real. UK, EU, US.
Brazil was one we talked about. Japan was one we talked about Ukraine, I think, a couple of weeks ago.
Shout out to the Ukraine. Shout out to Brazil. We respect y'all.
We appreciate it, but
we appreciate y'all.
We know who's calling the shots here.
Exactly.
We know the top of the food chain.
The big question mark is what happens with the CMA and how does this thing play? We're going to see. But yeah, this was a huge, make no mistake, this was a huge win internally for Microsoft. They have to be relieved that went through. And I'm very curious to see how aggressive they get. And the saga continues, bro. The saga continues.
We have just one, last question here, kind of getting into the guts of the deal and some of the remedies that had to be put into place. CT Fire writes in, greetings, Mr. Matty and Lord Cognito. The EU has approved the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. This definitely is a win for Microsoft / Xbox and gamers in general. However, I'm not so certain if it's a win for physical game lovers. In the subject and conditions from the EU, I noticed on 2 occasions when they talk about purchasing / licensing a game, and it says, quote, these licenses will ensure that gamers have purchased one or more Activision games on PC or console store, end quote, and quote, provided they are purchased in an online store or included in an active multi-game subscription in the EEA, end quote. Since buying a physical version of a game doesn't grant you access to a digital copy, it seems like this deal would lessen the value of a physical copy of a game, since you wouldn't be able to access cloud gaming or cloud streaming, but the digital version would, which puts one more nail in the coffin of physical game sales. What do you guys think about this? Thanks, as always, for putting out the great content and this deal is not dead yet, but physical games might be kind of dead. Great write-in, CT Fire. And
it was.
Yeah, this is a really good catch here. This is a really good catch because we've seen Xbox transitioning to this, and we know with these battles in court that are ongoing now, of course, we know the PlayStation is going to be involved. A lot of details are spilling. And because they got to get this deal through, it's kind of an at-all-cost thing, as you and I have said for months and months and months. Like, they will spill the details. And I have no doubt that Microsoft is telling them, like, digital's the future, right? And so we've seen hints of them shaking off a little bit of that physical copy stink, right? The Halo Infinite being an example. Hi-Fi Rush, no box copy. Now we've learned Bethesda's operating independently, so perhaps more of a decision on their own. Pentiment even. Grounded. We're seeing a lot of this from Xbox as of late. And it sucks, but we got to be honest. The writing's on the wall. They're walking away from this shit as soon as they can. When it no longer a fraction of it makes financial sense, they're out. And I wouldn't be surprised if that starting point is this deal getting done, because it's going to, I think, leapfrog the amount of subscribers they get exponentially. I think or increase, not leapfrog, exponentially. I think they're going to get the games they've been looking for, the exclusives. They're going to get on a roll. Whether it's good or bad, we'll see, but they're going to get on a roll. And if their plan is to be on all screens, you can't buy one disc that works for all these things. And that's just the unfortunate nature. Like the ROG Ally, it's an example. Like, it's a digital library type of system, man. They're not making the PSP where you pop it open, the UMD sticks in. None of that anymore. You're not getting the UMDs for the movies. It's all on an app now. And Xbox is leading the charge in the gaming division in that way. Nintendo's more of classic. PlayStation sticking more premium classic, if you will, kind of hedging the line a bit. They do a good job with PS Plus. Xbox is leading the charge in that direction where they think the industry's going. And trust me, they're going to kick the dust off their feet when it comes to physical games as soon as they can. And it's sad to see, but good catch, CT Fire. Cog, I'm curious if you agree with the assessment.
Yeah, he's on the money. I mean, this is what I've been saying. Yeah, he's on fire. CT. But yeah, look, this is where the industry's going. It's a scary reality for physical game lovers, and I get it. This is a transition point. And I think me and Colin, we did the Constellation recently, and one of the subjects was like about change, and he's just like, "Yo, man, I struggle with it," and I literally threw it. I said, that's why your Game Pass hate is in there. So he laughed, you know what I'm saying? But I get it. We've had these conversations before. It's the reality, I get it. What it is, I'm more of a, not that I'm, against change and I don't like things to stay the way they are, but I'm more of a realist. I start to see, okay, where is this thing going? And look, I come from I'm an OG. I come from the day of the Walkman and the cassette player and you know what I'm saying? I come from that, and then it was the Discman and and then it's
walkie-talkies.
See why you got to throw me in the walkie-talkie era, bro?
I use walkie-talkies. Anytime I go outside, my parents will hook one up. Just like, I thought they were cool. I like them. They were cool.
Like, I come from that era, the Sky paging. Like, it's just there's different things, and I remember people laugh like, "Yo, who's gonna download? I don't own the disc. I don't own the music. Like, who's gonna download this to a player?" And you know what I'm saying?
That was me with the iPod Touch. That was me with the iPhone. I was the biggest boomer with the iPhone. I'm like, I want a device for our music. Why would I want my music on my phone, bro? I couldn't imagine life any other way now. I couldn't.
Yeah, bro, it's so transformative. Like, even me, I'm gonna tell you what of my resistance were. I'm still fight with it. I have an iTouch. I'm kind of resistant, even though I'm pro Game Pass. I'm resistant to like the Spotify streaming thing. Like, there's a part of me that's like, part of me, I love this music. I got to give the artists the money, so to speak. Like I'm gonna go pay.
Well, with Spotify, that's actually like, they don't pay the artists apparently. So it's not like you're wrong in that. I still have a Spotify subscription. My fiance gives me so much shit for it. She's like, "Do Apple Music has got everything." I'm just like, "Bro, love Spotify. All my shit's there right now." Sorry, go on.
No, you're right, King. He gets disgusted with me. He's like, "Bro, why are you still buying music on Apple iTunes and you got an Amazon account and you could literally," I'm a boomer with it. I'm still like, "But I want it on my," you see, it's certain things we just struggle with. It's just,
so that explains, is that why? This is off. I'm sorry. This is a little off topic. Is this why? Because I've had people ask me why you take pictures of your actual device in the gym when you have your. That's why I was like, doesn't this dude know how to screenshot? I was like, there's something there like that I'm missing there.
Because it's something it's stupid because I could literally.
I got people who ask me, they're like, "Why is your man not?"
Yeah,
the power button, the home button. That's it.
You're absolutely right. It's because I got my Android device as my main device for my phone, and then my iTouch is in the gym, and I'm literally going to iTunes store and buying the Midnight Sun soundtrack. I'm buying, the Yakuza soundtrack. Oh yeah, I got that Midnight Sun. You're about to see some pics come up soon. But
that is a little maniacal. I'll be honest.
I'm
with
ridiculous.
You, all
I'm
this
ridiculous.
is on. Well, some of it, like I wonder if Octopath, for example, Octopath 2 would be a good test because Square Enix waits to put their stuff on streaming services because they put it up for sale first.
Yes.
And I bet you get quicker access to stuff.
Bro, I get quicker access. The Final Fantasy stuff, the Square stuff, Namco, some of them take a while before they put it on the streaming thing. And I love something. I love hard.
We need that in the gym. Yeah.
You know me. And I need my motivation. So I'm like, you know what? I have no problem paying for this in this case. But yes, I'm a dinosaur. Yes, I'm holding on for dear life. I know. And but I understand the mentality of others who tying this back into this, to CD5.
I like his dinosaur though, in all seriousness, because like dinosaur is like if you were walking around with CDs, bro, then we'd have a problem.
Yeah, I can't. We out here with the cassette tape talking about nah, I can't be that guy. But yeah, so that's what it is. It's few things that I hold on to, but for the most part, I'm a techie, so I do embrace where most things do and going. So yeah, the European market in general, Game Pass being the driver. This is where it's going, bro. Digital all the way. They're not really caring about physical. And if these deals go through the way they are with the EU, this is where it's going to be. So yeah, that's the major change with Microsoft. They're going to lead that charge to, like what you were saying.
Absolutely. So we'll see where it goes next. Anything you want to add in on this topic, or shall we move on?
It's a big one, and like I said, big win for them. And now we'll see the next stages.
Excellent. All right, let's move on to number 2. Jez Corden had some interesting comments on the Xbox showcase. It's coming up in June. This was over on the Xbox 2 podcast where he said, quote, "I will say that there are some things slated for the showcase which are a bit further out. I'm 75% sure. Some of the games that I've heard are going to be at the showcase are surely further out than 12 months. So unless some of these games are launching sooner than expected," and then that's where the sentence ends. I tried to hit up Jez and kind of get a little something out of him. I'm just like, Jez, it's like, bro, like let's do something together. Let's do something special. Huh? Like, what do you got for me? He said he's not leaking the showcase. We'll see though.
Respectfully.
We'll see though. I'm curious if my man Jez is gonna hold strong because I know he loves his scoops, man. That's the ice cream man out there. He loves his scoops. So I wonder if he's gonna drop a little something on that. But hearing this, Cog, one of our big critiques that I give you full credit for, because honestly, I still don't know if it would have came to mind if you didn't bring it up, is that 12-month window is very limiting from the last showcase. It strips some of the awe and wonder away from the showcase because, they're not going to wow you with something that's like, oh my God, it's like the future of the platform. And I get this now, this a little bit later, and this deep into the future. It removed that, and some of the surprises went away with it. With this, Cog, we're hearing 75% sure, but Jez, fairly accurate gentleman, saying that these games may be more than 12 months out, meaning it would push it to July, August, maybe the following holiday season. This is an interesting line for Xbox to walk, no doubt, right? We're talking about a company that gets critiqued a lot for announcing stuff too far out, but many of their fans want to know why they're here. So they have to provide announcements both now and in the future, on top of updates on existing games. They need to address a lot of areas in one showcase, and I'm interested to see if they can do it. But this would be one of those things checked off the list, right? Where it means we are getting maybe something deep. That Kojima game you talked about, for example, a New Vegas 2 that we talked about, et cetera, et cetera. So, Cog, hearing this, one of your main critiques of the showcase that you brought to light on this show, what do you make of that window, that framing being removed?
Oh, yes. Listen, I've accepted my apologies for the community. I was dragged again, unceremoniously, in the beginning. Cog, this is the right approach. It's practical. You're setting expectation. But I have to admit, I saw people give me my flowers. Like, nah, Cog, you were
good.
Good. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part on this one, people, I'm going to lay off. I'm not going to rub it in your face too much. But in the sense that...
you can do what I do?
Yeah, exactly. Normally, I would get it. The only one I would rub in their face, I will say it, I will stand on it, is if Starfield is 90 anything, I'm looking for people. I'm looking for people because people...
I think if this deal with Activision goes through,
That's another one.
You far more than me. You're going to go on.
Yeah, that's another one. I'm be like, okay. So, but the thing is this: the 12-month thing, bro. Like, critical mistake. I love if this is true what Jez is saying, which I pretty much I'm going to co-sign. Just be on it. You have to pull out all the stops right now, man. This showcase is so critical in conjunction with Starfield showing is so critical. So not only do you have to impress with the things we know about, you've got to, what's the word? Delight us with the things we don't know about. That's the new, because he wants to, Phil wants to surprise and delight. I'm going, that's my new word. I want to be delighted.
Every show, at least once, we're going to drop it.
Yes. I'm Lord Delight. Delight me, please. We've been waiting. You know what I'm saying? We listen, Hi-Fi Rush, surprise delight.
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft, not for everyone, but according to Craig, listen to DDU, delighted for Microsoft with all the multi-cross platform launch they did. It's doing what it's doing. So respectfully, then we get to Redfall. It's not a delightful situation, right? Now we get back here. You've got to delight. We just don't want to know about all the things we already knew about. And then you walk off and say finished and you think you killed that. No, you're going to have to pull out all the stops. You got to get people reinvested, re-excited. So it's like, hey, here's this other thing. And maybe that's that Avowed. Maybe there's this other project that maybe you can show that no one knew about. You've got to pull out the stuff. That's what gets people excited. And here's the other thing. There's another showcase coming before yours that people are expecting to be delighted. And they're getting there. It comes down to, and I hate to say this, but one thing the Xbox space really has become a little bit too prone to accept is set your expectation, right?
Yeah. Oh, do I not like that?
Right.
That's my 12 months. The 12 months didn't bother me as much as you. Once you brought it to light, I was like, yeah, I get that. For me, it's going on Twitter and seeing Greenberg say, please don't get too excited pretty much. I'm just like, bro, stop.
They just getting tired of it. And I understand why you have to do it from a marketing standpoint and a realism. You don't want people to get too crazy. I get that. But people want wonder and belief. And like, this would be a great time if you, hypothetically, Cog knows nothing, Rise 2 was available on your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, surprise and delight. Give us, oh my God, we didn't see this coming. We need grown man tears again. Like, we haven't had grown man tears. You know, last time I seen grown man tears was like PlayStation, when they did that one, was it Field of Dreams? And it was like, oh my God, they had this and the Shenmue and Final Fantasy. You need to do those core things that mean a lot to the Xbox faithful. You go, they was listening. That's what I want to see from all angles. So yes, I hope there's no 12-month situation. That gets us on the right track. So I'm confident that they know what they got to do. One thing, the good thing about failure, embarrassingly, is that it puts you on notice. Yeah. And sometimes you need that kick to say, don't ever do that again. And now you know what to do. So we'll see.
Yeah. Failure can breed a lot of motivation, can it? And we saw it with the Xbox One heading into the series consoles. My fear is that a lot of their kicks to wake up came dangerously close to this showcase. You got Redfall as kind of your big kick a month out. Then PlayStation strikes on the 24th. Now you can't react quicker beyond that. It's a couple of weeks, man. Yeah. So that's my big fear, is that, when they see this, they know the pressure. I mean, the interview with Phil told us everything. Like, they know what they're facing and they're excited for the showcase. And despite his downer mood, he was definitely excited about the show. So they know, right? They know what they've got to deliver. But it's not like this is happening in March, February, January, where they can look and go, okay, what can we pull the string on? What phone call can we make to get that big partnership, that exciting moment just for our fans, just so that we don't walk out getting laughed at. And that's something that we won't know until the show obviously arrives. And I think the other thing I worry about them for, Cog, I'll be honest, man, is the sense of familiarity. This showcase has a lot of potential to deliver first party, but with that, I think a lot of people might walk out going, that was a lot of stuff I already knew about. I don't think that's necessarily problematic, but because I say that like, we're going to get games. Like we almost got to pick a lane at a certain point, but I feel like these two talking points are about to intersect now. And I worry if people may walk out displeased if that's the case. Like if you get Hellblade again, we're getting Starfield again, you get Forza again, you get Avowed again, like you get Compulsion, which would be new. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like there are things we've seen in trailers and their updated looks, which I will be thrilled about, by the way, provided they look great, which I expect them to. I'll be thrilled about. But do you worry at all about that sense of familiarity creeping in? Because like right now with the PlayStation showcase, why don't we wrap that together here? Let's just wrap this to one segment. So PlayStation hosting a showcase May 24th, 1 p.m. Pacific time. And there's high expectations. Spider-Man 2. There's new hardware leaks with the Q Lite. There's new hardware leaks with a detachable drive. There's new hardware leaks with a PS5 Pro. There's obviously things like Matty's KOTOR remake that I'm hoping and praying for. There's the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. So right away, based off the rumors, the timelines, the expectations, PlayStation can surprise and delight, mightily so, because they'll have the WoW announcement and MGS remake. They'll have the first-party presence in Spider-Man 2. They'll have the hardware. And all of this, granted, there are reports and whatnot, but all this is newish, right? Spider-Man 2, barring that, is new. Do you worry for Xbox at all that there may be that creeping in sense of familiarity for the first-party lineup that could be shown here? Because I'm not walking back on, I think 2023 has got to be the biggest showcase they've had. It's got to be the best they've had. I've said for a while, this is the one you're going to see the first party. But with the way things have lined up, do you feel like you may be seeing some familiar sights at the wrong time?
It's interesting because, the PlayStation going before is probably, this is why the Redfall situation was the punch in the gut. Because if Redfall was at least solid and it was like that 80 range that we thought it could be, that could hold off and you're still in a kind of good, feel-good situation with the Xbox ecosystem. But because of what happened, everyone's down. And then the week before, they got blocked, right? So you're like, it was the CMA thing, it was this, it was just negative energy coming in. And then now you've got to deal with here's the problem. You're supposed to be gaining ground during this period of Sony's dormant period. They were dormant. You see what I'm saying? Like they were, there wasn't a lot coming out. So this was the time where you're like, okay,
really just Ravenlok.
Yeah.
Which was super successful, but it was really just that when I think about it. Stray.
Yeah, it wasn't really nothing. PlayStation's been super quiet. So this was the chance. And we thought after Hi-Fi Rush, okay, momentum. Then boom, Redfall situation hit. The blocking of the deal hit. You're like, oh man, it's just negative energy. And then now it's like, uh-oh, here they come. Let's be real.
I agree. I agree completely.
I'm being real. Yeah, it's brace for impact. What is about to happen, right? Spider-Man, you could say, bro, it's Spider-Man. That is
20 plus million. I think 30 plus. Go on.
Yeah, like, bro, it's that's coming. Final Fantasy, we know, associated with their platform, right?
I didn't feel that. Whoa.
Potential the FGC community potentially could have the marketing rights with all. Just so there's a momentum coming. They've been quiet. They're based. And let's hear the other thing. They haven't had a showcase in like 2 years. So it's a brace for impact, which unfortunately I hate to say because the game is not fair, but if they show out, what puts more pressure on the Xbox showcase.
That's where the product of just bad timing, right? There's a difference between Redfall, the product of incompetence, and then showcase from PlayStation, which is just that. Right. That sucks, man. That's why you just got to be prepared, be on your A game, right? Exactly. They should be ready to deliver anyway. Like the pressure was there anyway, right?
There you go. So now it circles back to your question, which is the original before this one, which was, the familiarity of what we may know already kind of energy. I'm a firm believer, and I know I get killed for this a lot because y'all killed me last time. What if it's the same? I don't think it's going to be the same, though. I think we're going to see stuff we haven't seen. But for the stuff that we know about, here is the key. It has to look and play impressively. That's all that matters. If Starfield comes out and we go, yo, did you see when you went there and they did that? When we come out and they see Center One, you go, oh my God, we see in the combat. Oh, look how they taking heads off. Oh, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all they surprise and delight. Delight part. The delight stuff need to look impressive. Now, I will push back. I know we talked about Pentiment type stuff. Gotta be real. This I never really said it's gonna be Cog's debut on this now. I understand the indies and the AA scene is critically important to the Xbox ecosystem. However, I do feel with this showcase, not that it all is going to be AAA, but please pick the most graphical, impressive things on this stage, because you need people to get confidence in not only do the games you got that quality game, but oh my God, did you see what game is that? That look great. You need to wow the casual gamer who wants to see that versus Pentiment on the screen versus Grounded. No disrespect. Those games are great, but you know where I'm going, Matty. Yeah. If I see a whole bunch of indie project energy, that's going to hurt them, in my opinion. Now, granted, there's a way to put that in the show in pockets, and you're gonna have to have some of that. You can't have all AAA bagger graphic. I get that, but I hope the focus is a lot of the impressive, wowing stuff in conjunction with the announcements. And look, I'm gonna be real. I'm still confident on my square with them. I still think it's set up for them. The only issue, Matty, is the format and how they present. That's going to be key. If you present well and stuff looks good, they will be fine. That's all that matters. But yes, it doesn't help them that Sony's coming first, and it didn't help them that the Redfall situation happened. But this is where we are, and we got to deal with it. So you making faces. I'm curious.
Let's have fun.
Let's do it.
Right. I know this. We'll do a prediction show, by the way, for those who are wondering. We're going to do a prediction show. But like off the top of your head, you got like one surprise, right? Because I think that's what this show needs, right? Because if you look at what PlayStation lined up to do, we'll see what they deliver with. It's always possible they deliver a pretty middling showcase, but I just think with the rarity of them coming around and what's rumored, man, they've got the rest of the showcase could be liquid ass. But if you got MGS remake, you've got Spider-Man 2, and you got new hardware, that's exciting. That's stuff to talk about. That's tangible.
Absolutely.
So I feel like Xbox, it's pretty safe to assume. We'll see what happens. I think it's safe to assume they will deliver some first-party stuff. We're going to see a lot of that at the showcase. One surprise, though. What's the surprise that would take it for you, right? Because we got the Kojima announcement, right? But kind of surprising. It got leaked so many times about Persona. What's like a partnership, a game? It doesn't have to be magnificent, by the way. Like, to me, I'll go first, like Persona. Like a new, like Persona 6 or like the 3 remake. If that was at the Xbox showcase, that would be an authentic, genuine surprise for me, because it would be that moment of like, oh, the partnership went from we're porting to we're on your stage now. That sends a message to me that's exciting. I don't know if that means it's exclusive, if it's day one Game Pass, but that's a surprise and a delight to someone like me. I know Xbox isn't the JRPG platform, but they want to be more global. You got to get these types of games on your stage. To me, that would be a surprise, because it's one thing, again, to say, we got 3, 4, and 5. Hey, welcome to 2022 and 2023. Join the club, Xbox. But now if they're here with the new stuff, that's a surprise and a delight on a moderate level. That's not, give me New Vegas 2, like something tangible, realistic, believable. Do you have something in mind that would be a good surprise?
No, this is a great question. For me, it's a volume play, because I don't know if there's a single title. I just can't think of it just now. I'm not saying it does not exist. There is probably a single title that we go, oh, yo, right? For me, I need to see, like, you know how I'm on this tech, like, I need to see that you had the marketing rights or you have the Game Pass deal with a AAA highly anticipated game that now is on your stage that has an association, right? You talked about the JRPG stuff. And then it also comes down to, I feel, the Xbox faithful. That's why I mean, like, let's just say you had again, this is really pie in the sky stuff, but you had a Rise 2, Quantum Break 2, you can't do Sunset, but you know what I mean? Like, and Dead Rising 4, like that is going to hit the heartstrings, because that is going to be like, yo, that's from the era that was lost. And you know what I mean? Like, they don't do that enough. Yeah, like they need to. And then it's like, okay, now you got, and now we go really into prediction show stuff, but now you got, now, man, you need this. It's an overwhelming feeling that, they understand. They are on the pulse of what the fan want in conjunction with an announcement of a big title and stuff like that. That's how you do it. And again, as long as you show and you show well and you have that type of showmanship, I think they'll be fine. But they got to execute it. This is a big show. There's a lot of pressure on it. There's no doubt.
Yeah, so I'm very keen to see how it all goes. No doubt that PlayStation showing up beforehand puts that inadvertent pressure on Xbox, even if something it's not correlated. These two are going to be sized up constantly, and it's unfortunate timing, but they better bring their A game, man. That was already the message from the fans, but now doubly so, because I think PlayStation has the chance to put on a really memorable showcase because it's so rare. They do state of plays, but when it's a showcase,
yeah,
they
coming. They coming.
So we'll see. Let's move on to what is technically number 4. Dino Patty, co-founder of Jump Ship, the team behind Somerville, which was a day one Game Pass title, has offered some thoughts on how Game Pass may have negatively impacted the performance of his game as a day one title during his interview with Video Games SI. Here's what he had to say, quote, "I also think it hurts sales because a lot of people just go in and try it and they don't invest. If they don't like the first 10 minutes, that's it. Also, if you don't make the first 10 minutes amazing, maybe it's also a problem. I think Game Pass is okay. It's not my favorite. My favorite is the old premium model where I sell you on some video, on big images, I earn your $30, and after that, I have to deliver. I don't need to get money out of you later," end quote. Anthony A. writes in, "Hello, Dukes. Dino Patty, the co-founder of Playdead and Jump Ship, believes that Xbox Game Pass actually hurt the sale of Jump Ship's debut game, Somerville. We've heard from a fair share of developers that Game Pass is a plus for them, so this comment took me a bit by surprise. After trying the game for a spell, it didn't grab me like Limbo or Inside, and I quickly abandoned it. Do you believe Patty to actually have a valid point, or do you think the game had its faults and just wasn't that good to begin with? Have a great day, Anthony A." Now, Cog, you played this one. I can't offer much on the intimate level, but I know people were a little disheartened by this one. And so I'm wondering what you feel of it, because you stuck with it. You hung with it. You said by the end, you're like, yeah, turns up. But I've heard the beginning based off your impressions, like not that great. So do you think this is it just wasn't good, it wasn't as great, as high of quality, or is there more of something here? Like Game Pass is hurting these types of games. Let's see what you have to say.
Ooh, this is a tough one for me. I'm in a pickle. Only because, man, I really like Dino and his team, and I really, I'm a Somerville stan. I'm one of the few that, look, it's got rough edges. Let's just get to there's some technical issues in the way the control scheme is, that they were trying to be ambitious with certain things and it didn't land initially, especially in the beginning of the game, right? So I understand his point where, if you're in Game Pass and someone fires you up, and in that first 10 minutes, I do think there's truth to that. In that first 10 minutes, if you're not wowed, you're probably going to drop. And I feel the control in Somerville is just a little too clanky, and interacting with objects was just a little too rough. And that's what hurt it. And it's a shame, because if you stick with it, the game really has a great philosophical message towards the end. And there's multiple endings. And I was just like, man, I want to talk about this, but nobody survived through dealing with the foolishness early to get there. And I feel that there's some really amazing vistas and it's just things going on in this game that are really dope. And it sucks because these are part of my inside team, right? So look, to his question about the Game Pass hurting thing, I'm conflicted because I do understand what he's saying about the first 10 minutes. But then again, I'm like, all right, you took a bag for this. You basically, they gave you what your projections could potentially be, and you got your security up front. So I do struggle with that statement. And then here's the other thing. Before the Game Pass deal, you pitched this to Stadia. So that ain't happened, right? So again, I'm not saying that the game is not good, but I guess there's questions I have about could you have went to PlayStation and got a marketing deal and kind of thing? And then also we got to remember Xbox has an affinity for Inside. So they figure, okay, they'll go and keep the momentum going, thinking this will be another one. It just didn't necessarily work out, but you got your bread though. You know what I'm saying? So I struggle a little bit, Matty. I struggle. I understand what he's saying, but I do struggle because the majority of game developers don't feel the way he feels. You know what I'm saying? And that's the other part of this. So it's tough. I don't want to minimize it because I do understand what he's saying, but I also don't want to act like there's this big trend that, oh my God, Game Pass is hurting sales because let's be honest, like, you did have issues with your joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, that we got to be real about it. And it probably was in that 7 range with it, you probably was expecting that 9 masterpiece thing. So I'm curious what you think about this. Obviously you didn't have the investment with Somerville the way I did. So I'm a little conflicted because I really like Somerville. I really do. I really think it's something special once you get past the initial, rough edges. So, but
I had to look up a quote from Mike Rose, who's the founder of No More Robots and a huge supporter of Game Pass. They're behind Descender, Soccer Story, a ton of other great games, and they love Game Pass. They say like all their they've already committed like all their games are going to be on Game Pass as long as they can because they've seen great benefits of it. But he said something that was very interesting and I think poignant to this discussion, which he says in this article from GameSpot. Rose said the biggest problem with Xbox Game Pass eating sales is that it's difficult to tell how many copies the game could sell on Xbox if it didn't launch on Game Pass. So the reality is, and this is not to disarm Dino, because what he's saying is fair, but the reality is that you could have not taken the Game Pass bag. You could have gone premium and you would have had less. And then you would have said, I wish I took Game Pass. So
thank you.
I put that all up there because I feel like it reeks more of a reaction to something he's not pleased with rather than the actual deal itself and what he got out of it, because you're able to put food on the table, fund your game, fund a team, get it all rolling, right? I think it's more like he expected more out of it, right? When Inside and whatnot was a big deal, and he's accustomed to a life of over delivery. And when he gets maybe a modest return on investment or a minimal return on investment, it's probably like, well, what changed this time? Game Pass. And I do have to say, for better or for worse, that Game Pass is an easy scapegoat when things go south for a game. We've learned that now. Like, Game Pass couldn't save it, so it's Game Pass's fault. Again, not to sound like I'm over delivering and over championing the service, because I'm not. I'm just saying that I do think it's easy to point the finger at it because there's not data suggesting what you would have got out of it if you decided to opt out, at least currently. So to me, it's an easy finger to point. I get where he's coming from. I think Xbox was wise to make the partnership. It was a smart chance to take. I hope they don't give up on it. But yeah, this to me, good luck. I hope that if you go premium and you do it on your own, Dino, that it pans out because again, I think based off what I've seen of Somerville, what I've read about it, what I've heard about it, is that the game's worth the money, but the early goings are a struggle and you're not really getting that quality experience out of the premium. And that, if anything, Game Pass probably helped net more people talking about it than it would have. So
yeah,
that's the catch-22. Like, if you're the right fit, you're the right game, or you catch the right audience. Like Chained Echoes was really popular in our audience, and it's very much not your typical Xbox game. Like Day One Game Pass is a marketing tool into itself. Like you do that not just for the bag, but it gets a community talking about your game. That's the thing that I don't think a lot of developers even realize. I'm sure Dino would know better than me, but I'm saying, like, from the outside looking in as a consumer and a game developer, is exclusivity is important because it puts this tag on your game and associates you with a community and gets conversation going that otherwise I just see multi-platform consistently failing. I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like, again, if he were to walk away from the Game Pass deal and that sense of exclusivity, that it would have dampened the potential of the product. But that's all I got to say on that.
No, you well said. And last point I want to add to it is that we have to understand, that this whole thing with game development and pushing and pitching, there is tremendous inherent risk. You're betting on yourself and what you could do. And it's easier to do that if you're big AAA, you're 2K, right? You know what I mean? Like, we anticipate all these sales. So
and if you don't get them, that's not going to kill you. Yeah,
Exactly. So again, that's the risk you take. Like I speak to developers behind the scene that have taken Game Pass back. We've had our man on from what you call it? What's
Brand Smith.
Yeah, that had to say nobody says
Yeah.
everybody says the world. Why am I blanking on this? There we go.
Yeah.
I am blanking on names today.
I got you.
Terrible.
I got you.
Thank
That's
you.
what I'm
I
here
appreciate you. Then I drop one like the developer for it was a game on Game Pass that I followed religiously. It was called Unto the End, and developer's name is Stephen Danton. We had him on ILP, and he talked about his process. Like he had to go through publisher just to get this game. I had found about this game in the cut years ago at some indie showcase. I was like, that game looked like it's going to be something, and then it just disappeared. And then it came back and it was boom, Game Pass. And I'm like, yo, and I asked him, like, yo, I want to get you on. I want you to explain. He's like, yeah, man. Like, Microsoft showed tremendous interest in it. We were at a crossroads with the situation and we took a bet on ourselves that, hey, they have accounted what the projection of what this game could do. And we felt this was fair. And because of that, he got that exposure. You know what I'm saying? And, I talked to him and a couple other people behind the scene. And people tell me, like, this is all about betting on yourself or looking at what could be offered and say, you know what, we may not get that. We could take this and we are comfortable. And now he's talking about his next projects and things of that nature. So that's what this is. It's risk. And I think it's exactly what you said. I think Dino's a great guy. I don't want to be disrespectful, but in his mind, he comes from inside. Inside is excellence. This is a person who's used to being known as a critically acclaimed, whatever he does kind of situation. And this one slightly missed the mark. So maybe there's the regret factor after. I think you said it eloquently, to be honest.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anything else you want to add on, or shall we move on to our final news topic? All right.
Let's get it.
Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass, a list of the mid to late May games. Starting off with May 18th, you'll get Eastern Exorcist on console and PC, as well as Ghost Lore on console. So a little bit of horror vibes, it sounds like. Then, pardon me, May 23rd, Planet of Lana is coming to console and PC Game Pass. May 25th, you get Cassette Beasts and Massive Chalice on console and cloud. Then Railway Empire also arrives on May 25th, console, PC, and cloud. And then Chikoroi, A Colorful Tale, arrives on Game Pass May 30th on console and PC. Meanwhile, leaving Xbox Game Pass on May 31st, Europa Universalis 4 on PC Game Pass makes the exit. Evil Genius 2 World Domination leaves console, PC, and cloud. FIFA 21 leaves console and PC. Floppy Nights leaves console, PC, and cloud. And Lawn Mowing Simulator leaves console, PC, and cloud, not to be mixed up with the very popular Power Wash Simulator. Also, just a little bit of an update on what's happening in June with Game Pass thus far. Amnesia, The Bunker, has been moved back to June 6th as a day one title for Game Pass due to certification issues. And Dordogne, I believe I'm saying that right, arrives on June 13th to the service as well. So you already got a couple games locked in, and no doubt with the showcase, they'll give us that graphic that says, like, here's all the monthly Game Pass games. But Cog, anything here that you're upset is making the exit or happy is making the entrance? Because I think I'm interested in Cassette Beasts, of course, but also Planet of Lana looked pretty good. So those two I have my eye on. What about you?
Yeah, hopeful for Planet of Lana. We'll see what happens. Covered it at PAX West. Thought it had potential. I like the art style, so I'm pulling for that. As far as I've never played Massive Chalice. I heard that was good. I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
I've heard of Massive Chalice. I've heard good things about it, but I've never played it. And not too eventful in as far as what's leaving and stuff like that. But those are the ones I got my eye on.
Yeah. It's a pretty light offering in the scheme of things, probably because we're calm before the storm. So don't expect too much with Game Pass in June either. I would say to ladies and gentlemen out there listening that let them coast into the showcase where we'll probably get a blowout of Game Pass games at the very least. So
I agree.
Curious to see what they invest in. Speaking of which, around this time last year, we learned about a little day one Game Pass game that your boy made the prediction on correctly. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is the Game Pass pick of the week. I didn't even introduce the segment. that was a smooth ass transition. That was smooth. That's the Game Pass pick of the week, though. One thing I've noticed is when I do research for the show, a lot of websites cover predictions, like Pure Xbox does this as well. They cover predictions of what may be leaving the service based off Xbox's 1 year timelines that we seem to see them do, like 1 year of exclusivity or 1 year of Game Pass. And so if the 1 year is to remain the norm, which it has, then I feel like TMNT Shredder's Revenge is going to be leaving in the next month. And I wanted to warn everyone of that because I think this is one of the better co-op games we've got. It's definitely one of the best Ninja Turtle games we got. And I got in the Turtles mood out of nowhere. It struck me like, dude, completely out of nowhere. So interesting story here. I'm sitting there on my phone and I get a text from my friend and it's a link from Wario64 that TMNT Out of the Shadows was live on Steam. This is a game from Activision that got delisted a long while ago. It was an Xbox Live Arcade title as well. Got delisted a long while ago. And that was because obviously Activision like lost the rights to the TMNT license. And this is like the closest we got to an Arkham style TMNT game. If you go to buy a key now, I have it on my Xbox, for example, but I have a 360 in my closet that has TMNT, Turtles in Time, Reshelled, the Ubisoft remake of Turtles in Time, and then this game. And out of nowhere, this game gets listed on Steam. So it's $15 compared to on the key websites out there, it's like $400 people sell these keys for. They're like practically unavailable. So I'm like, what? What Out of the Shadows is back, which is a very janky, rough TMNT game. But I like it because, again, it's the closest we got to a AAA Arkham style TMNT game.
The graphics of it now.
Yeah. It's, again, definitely not the best they've produced, but it was a little more ambitious from what we normally got.
Yeah.
And I saw it available for $15. I'm like, I got to try to get this. So I get it. I download it. I fire it up. I'm like, it actually works. I got it. It was unbelievable. And now it's gone again. It's gone again.
On now. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, the window has closed. So it just got me back in that TMNT mood. I know it has nothing to do with Shredder's Revenge, but it got me back in that TMNT mood where I was firing up, I was playing around, but I was like, man, this game's awesome. And I was thinking about Shredder's Revenge and how great that was. I was thinking, you know what? Based off what I see, based off what I research every week for the show, I'm like, this is probably leaving Game Pass soon. And like, if you haven't got around to it, it's a good time to do so. This is a game that, again, is making that exit soon. And it's it could even be a 2-hour romp. Like, it's a very short game, but highly replayable in my opinion, not because of unlocks, but because of arcadey fun. Like for me, what's been great about TMNT Shredder's Revenge is I just pick it up at random times. We were at PAX and we just played through a handful of levels. We played through like half the game real quick. It's that Turtles in Time vibe. You can't see it with the camera, but if you step out to this hallway in my studio and you make a right, you will see a Turtles in Time arcade cabinet that I bought for myself years ago. And I can't wait to hook that shit up in my house. But anyway, I've had this for a while because Turtles in Time is one of my favorite games. And it's not a favorite game in the sense where you sit down and it's like, yo, get ready for the grind. I'm going to do another playthrough. What kind of build am I going to do? I fire it up for 40 minutes here and there. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is that kind of game, but for the modern age. Just fire it up here or there. There are a little set of unlocks that you'll get, just little progression elements, but again, it's just a great TMNT game that harkens back to an era where the brand was at its strongest, and I think emulates it well, and the art's beautiful, but it's also, I think, I don't want to say one of, but I think it's the last time we're going to see a pixel art TMNT game for
Gotcha.
So, enjoy this. I think Nickelodeon is smart. If this was kind of it and they're going to move into AAA now, this is a good endpoint, but get in on it while it's on Game Pass, y'all. It's a great co-op game, up to 6 players in co-op.
Yes.
Really good time, bug-free, just so much personality, so much fun. And so please, if you've missed out on it up until this point in time, give it a whirl with a couple of buddies or play it by yourself. Again, it's not going to absorb your time if you're one of those gamers out there that's into TMNT. I've seen a lot of you writing in about The Last Ronin, which has been awesome. This is your reminder to just give it a shot or play it again maybe. Because again, very quick, free achievements. You like that type of stuff, right?
So
go ahead, fire it up. But that's my Game Pass pick of the week. TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
Temo.
And hey, speaking of Ninja Turtles, it's almost like I had a little plan here.
Yeah, I see what you did. I see what you did. I like it. I see what you did.
I think a little bit when I make these shows, just a little bit. Our final question of the episode goes to Von Aran. Hey, Dukes. With TMNT Last Ronin in production, I'm itching for some Turtle games. I played Shredder's Revenge on Game Pass, but a 3D TMNT is what I really want. Matty, Lord of Retro Gaming, and Cog, Master of the Shinobi. Do you guys have any recommendations? I've heard Matty is making a game over 100 times, but I don't know if it's a 2D or 3D type of game. And I love that, by the way. I love that y'all don't know shit. You just got to hear me talk about it. You don't know shit. So anyway, thank you for writing it, Valorant. Cog, I thought this was a great question for both of us. I know I put in quotes resident TMNT fan, but I actually wanted to hear your answer on this off the cuff because for me, it's a tough answer because I think I'm so rigid in my TMNT ways that I would struggle to think of an answer. But as the gaming ninja, I'm curious what you think when you think 3D TMNT game that's not obviously Ninja Turtles, but could be recommended because I have only one in mind, but I'm curious if you pick it out.
This is tough because to me, that's where the 2D space fits the cooperative nature for me for Turtles. And the 3D space, not that it can't be done, but it's just, I'm concerned that of the interaction of 4 turtles getting chaotic in a 3D space and really, not say, again, you really would have to wow me. I don't know what the outliers are. I don't know what example to pull from. So that's why I kind of lean back, into this kind of energy. Because when you focus
right there, baby.
Yeah, when you focus on the single turtle that we shall not name because Cog is now finished and caught up.
Oh, you finished it?
Oh, yeah. We finished that.
What did you think of that ending? Just real quick, no spoilers. What did you think of it?
So tough it was good. So tough it was good. So tough it was good. And I think it was. I didn't think. I don't see it's gonna spoil. So it's basically. It's very, very, the emotions were high. I love what they did. And I think it was great. It was really well told. I didn't expect them to do what they did. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love that, but go on.
I think I agree. As much as my conflict with certain things, I was like, nah. It was kind of, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, well done. The callbacks, the callbacks especially, and how this particular turtle, if we shout out name, was reflective in as far as all the different things that happened to the brethren, and how, I just love how it got there. You're like, damn, this is really dark. This is really depressing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is how it went down. Like, yo, each one, I'm like, damn. And then just some traditional ninja stuff and honor stuff and setup stuff.
Yes, sir. A lot of setup.
Whoa, setup. So, yeah. And then there was one thing I did like, and it's not really a spoil, the way they handled the mutant aspect. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But back on point to this question, which is, that's why I think a Ronin game kind of works. You focus on and you can get the abilities of others and do things with it. As much as I would want a traditional 4-player Turtles in a 3D space, there's a part of me that think it could get too chaotic and then you don't start paying attention to the story and this guy's going off doing his own thing and you know what I mean? Like, and then to get them on the screen, it's what I'm trying to think. Has there been a 4-player co-op 3D anything game?
TMNT 3 Mutant Nightmare. So even if you played by yourself, you had 3 turtles with you as NPCs and it was a 3D game. So,
but was it truly cooperative 4-player?
Yeah, you could have friends plug in controllers to play as the other turtles.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I'm hoping that if Konami teased that they'll do another Cowabunga collection with the more modern games. Yeah. And yeah, the Mutant Nightmare is one of my favorites. I love that game.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because the essence of it is supposed to be the 4-player co-op, which I love co-op. I just want the proper, attention and detail and story and not just get into this like mash fest and no one's paying attention and you know what I mean?
I get it.
Like, because sometimes they can devolve it. But what do you say like with this, like as far as a 3D?
I would say, Vonoran, I got 2 suggestions for you. I got one 2D, one 3D for you. I would say for 2D, Dust and Elysian Tale might be a good pick for you. This was I think an Xbox Live Arcade game, but it reminds me of TMNT in the way where you're playing, or like Sly Cooper, you're playing as an animal, and you are this kind of ninja, and the combos you can pull off. Just like look up a trailer for those who are listening, and you'll see like you can just stay in the air and keep like just dovetailing to one enemy to the next. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Reminds me a bit of like Vanillaware. If anyone's played Odin Sphere Lithrazor, like it reminds me of that game a bit. Maybe Dragon's Crown a little bit, where it's kind of got that art style. It's got that floaty beat 'em up style combat, high hit counter combos, that stuff. So not complex inputs either. So if you're looking for 2D, this might be a good place to go if you're looking for that 2D ninja vibe. That's the first one that comes to mind. There's the 2D Shinobi game I remember in 2014. I don't know if you like that, but I thought that was pretty good from what I played. It was okay.
It was okay. Like, I got the Shinobi. You talk about the Shinobi, you know what I mean? I got all of them in hierarchy, and there's certain that are revered. Like the way you know Turtles is the way I know Shinobi games.
I respect it.
You know what I'm saying? But respectfully, it's okay.
I saw the energy shift, and I was like, oh, it's not there yet. Okay. That's my arrogance talking.
Trust me, I could come at you with some Turtle games. You'd be like, God, that's cool.
None of them are honestly, I don't know if I would, because honestly, none of them outside of Shredder's Revenge and Turtles in Time are actually like legitimately revered good games. Like they're all either buggy or tie-ins. Like that's why Last Ronin is a game is fucking hype. For 3D, I'm going to recommend one that I think kind of evokes the Turtle vibe a little bit. Not my favorite game. I was a little lukewarm on it, Defining Duke, but maybe you'll like it. Got a Game Pass deal renewal, so I think it's still there. Origami 2. Up to 3-player co-op. The ninja action is there. The stealth. They improve the action combat, so you can do that. But it's more of your stealthy approach. The thing with Valorant here is that the Turtles are so unique and distinct that you're not going to get a Turtle experience unless it's a Turtles game, right? And so you're now officially in my pocket where you've experienced the best the series has to offer, and you kind of got to just wait for them to finally get their act together and cook up something nice. So those would be my 2 suggestions to you for 2D and 3D, Dust and Elysian Tale and Origami 2. And hopefully you find some good stuff in there. If they both don't vibe with you, then again, welcome to the party. We're just going to keep waiting until that last Ronin trailer hits. Which, by the way, I should have mentioned that in the surprise segment. If Xbox had one surprise,
see, we go. There we go. On the Xbox stage, this is what we talking about.
That's immediately A tier. Like just the Matty scaling, that's immediately A tier. It's like you could just show up with Game Pass indie games. No offense to my indie brethren. You could show up with Game Pass indie games only, no AAA, no first party. But if that last Ronin's there and it's like exclusive.
Pop culture, Mandalorian game, something like, you know what I mean? Like this type.
There was a Mandalorian game for so long. I don't know if it's true or not.
That type of energy, Xbox, just do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But Cog, here we are at the end of another episode. I think this was kind of the calm before the storm when you think about it, right? Like we had stuff to talk about, no doubt about it. Very interesting, but like we're waiting for the PlayStation showcase to strike. We're waiting for the Xbox predictions to strike when it's just been long enough that we can submit them. We got a lot we're waiting on. So this feels like it, right before things are going to start maybe hitting the fan or getting really exciting. We'll see. So great episode, sir. How are we feeling?
Yeah, feeling good. A lot of good stuff to talk about. Actually, surprisingly, more stuff that we find to make things happen in even quote unquote slow news weeks, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, we're always in this 3.5 hour pocket. Always.
Yeah, we're in this new pocket now. But look, the show has been really fantastic, and I'm loving to see people really taking it and really getting in the pocket with us. But trying to figure out this hashtag though. What we doing with this? Because obviously we have the EU stuff and a couple of tangents. Yeah, we go. I mean, EU was a big win for them. You know what I'm saying? We got to count these wins when we get them.
We definitely do. I'm still figuring out what I want to label this episode, man, because like I have a couple ideas. I'll bounce them off you once we're done here. But I like DDEU. Do you?
Oh, yeah, I like that. Let's do that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you got this deep into the episode. You want to let us know on Twitter. I'm at G27 Status. My co-host here, Lord Cognito, is at Lord Cognito. Surprise, surprise. You can find us both there. Use the hashtag DDEU. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Let us know you got to the end. You listened to this point. Or you're weird. You skipped to this point and then you're going to listen later. I don't know why you do that. We'll call the fraud alert on you if you do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, DDEU. You can find us on Twitter at G27 Status and at Lord Cognito. Otherwise, if social media ain't your thing, use the hashtag in the comments. Go ahead, fire it in there. We appreciate you so much for listening to the episode, engaging with us, having Defining Duke hitting some high numbers. We appreciate that immensely. So thank you. And we're going to continue riding this high because it's showcase season, baby. So thank you again, Cog. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Another DD banger, another good one. I'm getting excited. We're cranking up, man. These are the fun months coming, so I can't wait, man. This is what we do it for.
Absolutely. So we'll see how it all goes. Next week, we will wait to record our episode until the PlayStation Showcase strikes, just to make sure we account for that, because I imagine we'll be talking about a lot of what's shown there, not ignoring it, of course, the implications of the Xbox community. So just know that going into the episode. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to seeing what happens in the next week in the world of Xbox. We'll be back with episode 125. So until then, take decent care of yourselves, and we'll see you then. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.